Yeah.
Metal Cough!
ABAs!
Oh, yeah, that's the voice of a man who spent all of Sunday just partying, watching the Niners at SoFi Stadium. You, Danny Trujillo, and bottomless mimosas in the suite.
What a day. What a day. What an incredible, incredible day. I don't know if I'll ever top that again.
I mean, is that the greatest game you've ever been to?
Yeah. Yeah, probably. I mean, it's not the most important. I've been at Game 7s and World Series games, but it's the coolest game. Pick of the stick. You and I have talked about it before. It's pretty sweet. It was that kind of on steroids, I say, because of what was on the line. But remember just how special that night was? I remember I couldn't sleep. Remember we were doing a radio show the next day, and it was a little bit like that, but I'd say like times 10.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I mean, they play in these epics. It was epic. I mean, what was it? You got to just give us, John was there. John's at a hotel room in LA right now. You got to give us some, we're recording this Sunday night, by the way. Let's do some basics here. Recording it Sunday night as we watch the end of the Raider Charger game. If you are watching on YouTube, it's great to have you. Hit that like button. If you are listening to the pod, we appreciate that. The mailbag will return this week, probably. So on iTunes, 5-star review.
Do you think we just hold? Do you want to hold it out and just do
not a terrible thought.
I mean, let's just ride the playoffs.
Since we're gonna, all right, we're gonna go live we're gonna do YouTube only shows on Monday and Wednesday as well. Is that what you mean? Should I say that?
Yeah, that's the plan. If I can make it home, I don't die. The stadium is unlike anything you've ever seen. I mean, it's really pretty awesome. I mean, that's the best stadium in America, and I don't think there's a close second.
Have you been to Jerry World?
Yes, I have. It's way better. Now,
and why is it better than Jerry World?
It's just, I mean, it's 15 years newer. It's just like newer car. It's just newer. I mean, it's bigger. It's the look of it. And then he pulled it off in California. I mean, Jerry pulled it off in Texas. He can fucking do whatever he wants in Texas. I mean, that he was able to do that there. Now, I thought today was 60-40. I was texting with some people with the Niners, too. I mean, they're sending me pictures of them drinking. And some of the, I think, the executives were just getting wasted at SoFi when it cleared out. But it was 60-40. It was just old. I mean, I've never been to a roller coaster event quite like that before in my life. Only thing that would have been crazy would have been if I would have had money on it. But I would have lost my mind early on.
We do have money on it, John. It's called this business enterprise.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I would have been extra if I thought about it. Like, should I just put $1,000 on this game, Niners? I would have fucking hated myself the first half. It crossed my mind. It would have
been a roller coaster the second half.
Yeah, it would have been crazy.
You sent me a photo early. I didn't realize that on that Ring video board up there, they put all the other games up there pregame.
They do, but then once warm-ups kind of get going, they start doing the warm-up stuff. So
Gotcha.
like they'll have Stafford when he's warming up. We kept saying, like, we're all here. We can see them. Just play the other games. But, yeah, for the first – that to me is the difference between Jerry's, right? He's got the big video board, and most people do, right? The domes, like, over the middle, where remember, early on, guys were hitting it with punts. This one is circular, so the ball just goes right in the middle.
Goes through.
Awesome. It's awesome. But it's like outdoors. It's not a dome. It's outdoors. That's what's so cool about it.
Oh.
It's not a dome.
So
there's openings in all the corners. It is not enclosed.
That is awesome.
The lighting. I mean, how good does that place look on TV?
It looks fantastic. Part is just the colors look good.
Pops.
Oh my God. We have got so much to get to, John. This show is brought to you by MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM and the number one. MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM and the number one, where we've got a lock of the week Monday night. We actually had a lock of the week to Sunday as well. That was Patriots -7 against the Dolphins. I look forward to checking up on that one. But you got the national championship game. The national championship game is Monday. The playoffs, the NFL playoffs begin this week. We got golf back underway. We've got Clay back for the Warriors. We've got Major League Baseball futures? No. MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM and the number one. MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM and the number one.
They just got the two. Brandon Staley. I've talked a lot of shit. He just got the two. MyBookie.ag, promo code HAM1. I already know. I mean, just looking at the slate, if we're getting the Niners 3 points, like I am in betting a big boy bet on the Niners this week at Dallas. That's not emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, I would imagine that they're going to be the underdog once, by the time we'll reconvene Monday, we'll probably see some lines.
Yep.
A little weird it's on CBS, but I'm sure that's Nance and Romo, right?
Yeah, that'll be the 4:30 Eastern game, so it's a 1:30 Sunday game. But the NFL playoff slate, which we can tell you about, is going to be fantastic. We'll talk about it more this week. But mybookie.ag, promo code Hammond, the number 1, where they will match that deposit dollar for dollar up to $1,000. If you accept the bonus, you have to bet the full amount before you can withdraw funds. You can also decline the bonus, but either way, Ham won. Let them know we sent you. Also, welcome back, DraftKings, baby. I mean, should we get a playoff game going this week? Maybe a golf game?
Why don't we just do the 7 playoff games or the 6 playoff games?
I love it.
Why don't we do that?
I love it. DraftKings, this is where it's at, John. So here's the deal. 18 weeks of the regular season, done. The playoffs are here. DraftKings is the official daily fantasy partner of the NFL, and you are not going to want to miss this. Every one of you, when you use the code HAM, when you sign up at DraftKings, use the code HAM, either download the app or go to the desktop site, code HAM when you sign up. Everyone can play for a $1 million top prize in every round of the playoffs. All you do is enter the DraftKings Playoff Football Daily Fantasy Contest, and you'll be eligible for a shot at millions of dollars in prizes.
Did you take that one?
All right, I'll keep going. So here's how you play. You just draft 9 players, right? It's easy. Each player has a salary amount. You know that. You got $50,000 for your salaries. You rack up fantasy points for touchdowns, yards, field goals, and so much more. You've played fantasy, but if not, this is a great time to start. Use promo code HAM to get a shot at your share of millions of dollars every round of the NFL playoffs. Your shot at millions of dollars in every round of the NFL playoff. Use promo code HAM to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes throughout the NFL playoffs. It's fantastic. We've had a blast doing it. We've been playing a ton in our Haberman and Middlecoff DraftKings League over the last 2 years, and we will welcome you back to it.
DraftKings, promo code HAM. Mariota.
Do you want to watch the end of Charger Raider game and then pull that out of the podcast as we're doing this here? Are you that engaged?
Are you? I mean,
I guess the question is, do the Raiders get stopped here? Well, let's chill for a moment on this Sunday night game. We're all hanging out here live on YouTube, right?
Yeah. So
this stuff can get edited out of the podcast.
I like this. I mean, are they just using Mariota as a running back? Mariota looks pretty good right now, doesn't he? Running around.
Mariota looks fantastic every time they play him.
Shit.
Let's just watch some Raiders Chargers and react to some comments here, and then we'll dive into the Niner Ram game first thing in a few minutes since we're here.
So it's third and what?
You're a little ahead, so you're going to have to tell me. As you're doing that,
do you have a streaming TV or do you have cable?
No, I'm on cable. You must be closer to the source or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the Hollywood elites down there,
R.I.P. Bob Saget. Did you see that news today?
I did. What happened there?
I don't know. Hotel room. He was on tour just last night. He had tweeted. I think one of the eerie things of modern society is like after somebody passes, you can just immediately see that they tweeted yesterday about whatever,
What was his tweet?
Just, I'm on tour. Go to bobsaget.com.
Oh, shit, guy.
For
oh,
tickets.
shit.
I can't wait to see what's about to happen. 3rd and 6 for the Raiders. 3 minutes left. Carr balls out. Strip sack. At the 19. Was his hand coming forward?
Was that Joey?
They need an immediate shot of Charles Woodson in the booth, then a photo of Drew Brees in the playoffs. I mean, Drew Brees, Tom Brady.
No, that's
There's
out,
no
bro.
way.
That's out.
If this was the Raiders on defense, they would get the ball back. Yeah, that's out. Holy
that's
shit.
Out.
Oh my God.
Was it Joey? Yep.
They're going to be introducing Jim Harbaugh as their coach by Wednesday at this rate.
I've talked a lot of shit about this guy. I'm going to get destroyed on social media.
8-point game?
No, it's not. It's 7. They went for 2.
Oh.
And his 2 worked. And now he's only down to a touchdown. Is he going to go for 2 to win it? Can he go for 2 to win it?
Well, why would he do that? The tie is all he needs, right? He just can't lose.
He just can't lose, yeah.
We could have the tie.
Well, they're going to go to overtime. You're right. We could have the tie.
We could have the tie, which would knock the Steelers out. Which is no way.
The tie would be bananas.
I mean, the Steelers almost tied today.
It was close, huh?
The Niners were in the realm. Tell me this. On the first play of overtime, when Garoppolo missed Debo behind, was Debo going to catch and run Tim Tebow to the end zone, or was it not?
No, I think if he was going to, he would have had to stop and kind of cut back. There was reinforcements in the middle, but he, him. I mean, he's breaking a tackle, trucking a guy, and getting guys ripping his shirt. Didn't he say the game would have been over if he had tucked in his shirt? Did you see that quote?
Oh, I didn't see that quote. No.
Yeah, he said I would have scored it, but I untucked my shirt. It was on me. You cannot what?
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I'm kind of with Daniel on the stream here. Not sure in hindsight now, the Mariota play calling.
Well, he got 8 yards on the first down. The problem was they did that Kyle, the kind of the quick, like hand it to Debo when he's running. Well, they did it with Renfro. Oh, shit.
2 minutes left. Oh, I thought they were on their own 20. Wait. Hold on. Was there a punt? What the hell just happened? Did they not give the Chargers the ball?
What the fuck? What the hell just happened?
Chat! What the hell just happened? How was that not Charger ball on the 18-yard line? Thanks, lazy but crazy. 707. Raiders recovered it, says Andre.
Oh, okay.
I missed that little detail. I would not be a good spotter for Al Michaels tonight. Raiders recovering. All right.
This thing's kind of dragging.
Well, but I mean, the Chargers are about to.
You're right. I mean, it's 2 minutes.
Because the reality is, we could start talking about Niners Rams right now, which I would love to.
You're right.
And then, this game is going to distract us. This game is just. It's just. You don't get many like this.
You just don't get
many like this.
It's like Kyle. It's Thursday night game. Remember when Kyle's like, you just don't sleep that much that week? I just gotta fucking power through.
Well, it's like I saw a few people like when Herb Street did the Rose Bowl the day after he did one of the CFP semis, and he was on College Game Day, like 6 a.m. from the Rose Bowl that Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy. Of course he's not, because he had that take that everyone hated. So everyone's like, of course he's not at his best. You're making this man work cross-country flight after a Friday night game to a Saturday morning show. And it's like, he's going to do this like twice this year. That's it. He'll be fine.
Do you know one regret I have?
You know why he did it? Because he wants to do it.
I saw that tweet. I wish I would have quote tweeted and called that guy a fucking imbecile, because that's such a loser mentality. This is the big leagues. They pay him $10 million. He's flying on a private jet. Dave, all the other guys were there too. That is such a loser mentality.
Do you know why he's doing a football game yesterday? Because him and Fowler want to do an NFL game.
Wait, they did a football game yesterday?
Yeah, they did a football game yesterday.
Which
NFL
one?
Game? The first one, Broncos Chiefs.
Seriously?
Yeah, it would not be my recommendation to them, because I saw Fowler did like an Insta story, like 4 games in 11 days. This is not the easiest thing in the world. And like one of those New York media guys, Andrew Marchand, was like, for Fowler to be complaining about this while people have real jobs is crazy. And I kind of, whatever, who cares? I replied.
Was he complaining?
No, he's just saying it's hard, which it is a challenge. Like a week to prepare for a game, even that you could get 8 days. So 4 games in 11 days, the national championship Monday, to have them do Broncos Chiefs, to me, I wouldn't stretch them that thin, just because something's got to give.
Oh shit!
Here we go, Herbert.
Please be okay.
Back to the game.
I want the Chargers to lose, but I don't want him to tear his knee.
3rd and 10. 1:54 left. Chargers do have all 3 of their timeouts, so if they don't get
Fowler is kind of a tennis elitist. That was definitely complaining. Like that. You're right. That, to me, the Herb Street thing, media. That's such a loser mentality.
It. I didn't think it was. He was saying it's a challenge. He's just, if you watch his stuff,
he didn't tweet it. He said it.
He just does like an Insta story all the time. Like if you go to his Instagram, he's constantly like 20, just like, here's my boards, getting ready for
he does that
game constantly. So he's just talking. He's like 4 games, 11 days. You flush it onto that. Just trying to give people some insight. 3rd down and 10. Oh, my God. All right, so now they're going to punt here with 1:49 left, right? It's similar, actually, to the situation the Niners were in today.
No chance he punts. Does he have 3 timeouts?
4th, yeah, he's got all 3 timeouts.
He's going. Guy, he ain't punting.
From his own what?
Brandon Staley.
So, all right, let's talk about it. In this spot today, the Niners punted. The Niners were 1 minute 50 seconds. 1 minute 50 seconds. The Niners punted with 3 timeouts. Let me tweet that. 49ers punted in the same spot today with 3 timeouts and 1.
No, it was 4th and 18 though.
That's true. I take it back. He got it.
Like they picked up 10. There's a big difference between 10 and 18
You're
yards.
right. You're right. I forgot it was 4th and 18. Good thing.
Even though I did think it was kind of crazy. Oh shit. This is a good game. You're right. I'm glad we watched this. This is a good ending.
Herbert.
Did Max Crosby just run over a guy?
Gotta see the replay.
So they went, what was it, 4th and 2 on their own 18, and he went for it?
Yeah, it was like 4th and a long one, down by 3.
In his own red zone. On like the Raiders got the ball in the red zone.
His own baby zone.
Is that the craziest thing you've ever seen? Early in a playoff game, down a couple points?
I mean, to me, it was much crazier than when Bill did it on the road against the Colts.
Guy, that was a regular season game.
Yeah, it was late. Peyton was dominating them. And he had like a unique play drawn up. This was just a run play that got stuffed.
Wasn't that game like mid-season?
Yeah, I think so. Incomplete.
Can you imagine how painful it is falling on the football?
Underrated. Hitting the ground in football is underrated how much it hurts. Falling on the ball knocks the wind out.
Not a catch. What is the betting line? Can someone tell me what the betting line is? Someone said the betting line's out.
On the Niner game?
Yeah. I bet the NFC games are all out on like Twitter. You know, like people just tweeting out from the books or whatever.
Right.
What's your guess?
Dallas 4.5. Dallas. You said Dallas 3.5 earlier. I think that's a pretty good guess. So I'll go 4.5.
It's Dallas -3. The chat's saying.
Okay. I mean, Dallas scored 51 on Saturday. Granted, in a game but they scored 51.
Well, the Eagles benched a lot of guys.
Yeah, I mean, Minshew started, and then Greg Ward came in late
to play quarterback.
Kelsey.
Greg Ward's a wide
watching
receiver.
The end of the game, so maybe he just threw a trick play. Kelsey came in, got 1 snap to extend his streak, and then came out of the game. Then the backup center got hurt, so they get a shot at Kelsey. Like, oh fuck! Like, is Kelsey gonna have to come back in this game? And then they had another backup center ready to play. 4th and 10. Did they get it? You can tell me. How'd they get to 4th and 10 already?
Well, they threw a flag.
Wait, they threw a flag on the conversion?
I don't know what's going on right now. There's a flag. He didn't get it, but there's a flag. Holding defense, automatic first down.
I'm not paying good attention to this game. Did they convert the 4th down and ran through 3 downs, or did they replay the 4th down?
They got the 4th and 10. He got a 10-yard completion over the middle. Then the first 3 plays here is incomplete and fucking running for his life. And then here he just threw an incompletion on 4th down, but they're calling defensive holding. And now Rich Biscaccia is fucking hot.
It looked like a pretty good call to me.
Max Crosby. This guy's kicking his ass. Oh, shit. No chance they allow him to. You can't extend it like that, can you? Are you allowed to do that?
It's an incomplete pass.
What if he fumbled it, though?
Well, then, yeah, you can.
Yeah, that's an incomplete pass. Max Crosby is kicking the shit out of this right tackle. Oh, my God. It's fun, like Bosa today, Armstead, Crosby. When you just watch a defensive lineman just mollywop a guy over and over, can you imagine being in the NFL and being an offensive lineman and not being like Trent Williams or Munoz or just one of the best ones and go, I don't think I can handle this guy.
But what can you say? Like, give me a little help?
Well, no, you don't. It's old linemen. They just keep their mouth shut. But I bet in the back of their mind, they're like, gee, I'm going for a ride every play. I cannot slow the guy down.
Are they reviewing this play?
God, this game's taking so fucking long. Hurry the fuck up.
I would say this would fall in the category to me of not necessary. Did it seem like Jerome Boger's explanation of the overtime rules today took a minute and a half?
Someone tweeted at me, like, Google Jerome Boger's Niner record. I guess it's not good.
Somebody tweeted that at me, too. Did you look it up?
Maybe it was no. I believed it, though. And then as the game was going, I'm like, this guy's onto something. God, I fucking hate Brandon Staley. Hate his look. How about McVay partying in the end zone like that? Like
Flag?
You can't do that.
No, it was pretty weird.
And then to
but
lose that
but
game?
You know what? It just like showed you how much it meant.
No, listen. I mean, emotion got the best of them, but like to lose that game and have that moment, that was like a.
Yeah, you don't party in the end zone. Yeah, it's true.
I would if it's 38-0 and you're kicking the shit out of them, you're going to win it. That was in the first half, right? When he did that.
Yeah, it was. That was the 17-0 score.
Was that the Higbee? Was that the Higbee touchdown?
Yeah. Well, the second Higbee touchdown, right?
That was a great throw to Higbee in the corner. Great throw too on the cup throw in the back end. I mean,
the cup throw on the previous, that same drive earlier over Jimmy Ward. Well, they converted 5 of their 6 first third downs, and it was like they were all 3rd and 11.
There was a lot of screaming, "Get off the field!" all coming all over the place in that building today.
Austin to who? Oh, just on 3rd down.
Niner fans screaming, "Get off the field!"
Austin says, "I want to see some McVay presser stuff." Twitter said he was irate. All right, Herbert.
3rd and 10.
Could you imagine, John, if a tie gets you in? Never mind, stupid concept. He'd kick the extra point. Blakeman, you don't have Hockley's guns. Hockley Jr. or Hockley Sr.?
Guy Scotty Raber, who I went to the game with today, is flying home tonight. He said his flight is like 70% Niner fans in their jerseys. He said it's just chanting
to Sacramento.
To Sacramento, yeah.
That's probably a pretty awesome experience. 3rd down and 10. Middlecoff's ahead of us. 59 seconds. Chargers have the ball on their own 32-yard line. Welcome to Oh my God!
Is this thing going to go to overtime?
If it goes to overtime, do we then start the show?
I mean,
let's just hang out. We don't, no pressure.
How's the connection?
You look good so far. Knock on wood. Knock if you're with me. Pretty crazy. If you told Rich Bisaccia, I was thinking about this today. Like, I don't know. Maybe somebody's asked Rich this question, and I'm not being like snarky when I say this, but there had to be a time in his career, right, where Rich Bisaccia wanted to be a head coach in the NFL, and then there probably was a time or just a head coach. Then there probably came a time when he realized, like, I'm never going to be a head coach, and that's okay. I'm making a good living. I'm happy. My family, whatever, right? But that time, at some point in time, came where he realized he was never going to be a head coach. Maybe it was 20 years ago. Maybe it was maybe it was 1998 when he realized it. I don't know. But if you had said to him like a year ago, Rich, I know you've given up on your dream of being a head coach and you gave up on it in 1998, but next year you're going to be coaching the Raiders in a must-win game. You might go to the playoffs if you win it. You will go to the playoffs if you win it. It's pretty crazy.
It is. I would say the better version of that is Fangio. Don't you think there were points in Fangio's career when Fangio thought he was never going to be a head coach, and then luckily Elway was kind of desperate, wanted a tough guy, and it didn't really. Did you see his quote last night? Like, What do you think is the difference of you and the rest of the division? Where he's like, whatever what he just gave a comment basically like the difference of us and the other 3 teams in this division is they have 3 all-pro max quarterbacks. We don't. Yeah, he knew he was going to get fired, but he's not. I mean, that's
not. Johnny went 7-9, 5-11, 7-10. I mean, on the list of 3 and done fired coaches, a lot of guys have done better. But
how many timeouts does this guy have? I can't see. There's a hat in my way.
2 timeouts left for the Chargers. Is that a first down to Tyrod Taylor? Fangio going to be.
This is a pretty good nightcap for the league, isn't it?
I mean, but again, like I watched the Steelers game today with so much fervor, knowing that if the Steelers had lost to the Ravens, this game would not matter. And I was pretty heavy into that Steeler game today because of that. Yeah, this is great.
1st and 10, 40 seconds.
What is that Niner rating going to be from today's game? What's this rating going to be? The Clay rating. I mean, Barrier TV is getting a workout, but like just nationally, the Niner game and this game, because they were both the national games, right? They were both incredible.
I'd imagine the Barrier that game did a 35.
First down and 10 Chargers.
Fuck. This thing is
at the Raider 43. Herbert, back foot. You can say what happened. Don't feel like you can't say what happened.
No, I mean, I'm just. This is intense. I still don't understand how the that's a big win for CBS. They get Niners, Cowboys.
Yeah, I
Romo,
mean Chiefs. I guess
Nance.
would they rather have Chiefs?
Is that because they want Romo to do the Cowboy game?
Raiders? Maybe
He doesn't do Cowboy games, so why? God,
I mean,
Herbert
you want
is
Aikman
holding
to
on
do
for
that
dear
game?
life. Chargers O-line does blow.
Golly.
So you think the audio is going to be good?
Seems so far it's good, yeah. I would keep recording if it's not hurting anything, though.
It just might take me so long to send it.
But you might not have to. It's
Yeah.
only a backup.
Good call.
Nickelodeon also got the Niners. Yeah, when I first saw, here's the.
But I don't need to record this, huh?
Nah, if you'd rather stop it.
Just because it's going to take up a lot of space.
When I first saw,
was he in?
No, he's out.
He is,
right? I haven't seen a replay yet. They ruled him out. I haven't seen a replay yet. Here we go. Have you seen it? Left.
1 foot.
Ooh,
No, he's out. He's out.
The left.
His hand.
His hand goes out before his right foot comes down.
Yeah.
Oh,
4th and 10.
how hard is it to just do that?
Let me take a quick piss and grab a water.
Yeah, go for it. We're hanging out. For those of you just joining the stream, we started the podcast, then we decided let's watch the end of Raiders Chargers. So we will get back to the podcast. Everything we're just hanging out watching this game. This will not be part of the podcast. We'll pull this stuff out of the podcast. So we're just hanging, watching this game. If it goes to overtime, I don't know. What do you guys want? If this game goes to overtime, do we need to start the podcast to talk Rams Niners, or are you guys hanging out with us through OT, even if we don't get to Rams Niners by then? What's your give me some feedback here. You guys got somewhere to be? Let me know. Obviously, national championship game is tomorrow. We are going to do another live stream, YouTube only, at some point tomorrow, and we're going to probably do another YouTube only live stream on Wednesday, in addition to the Tuesday, Thursday podcast. So that's the schedule. Fourth down and 10. Here we go.
You got it.
Herbert.
If this fucking thing goes to overtime, I'm going to lose my mind.
Oh.
Was that guy open? I just saw him getting up. Fuck my water.
Start the podcast and we will fill you in on the game.
Can this fucking game end?
The struggle with that, God, you guys are commenting so fast. Struggle with that, Roy, is I'm kind of distracted.
Yeah, that ain't going to work. You're right. It's a good call. This game has to just end.
But how is that going to, they're going to get a stop? This 2-minute drive is going to take the 4.5 minutes.
Fuck. Come on, Crosby.
Herbert's arm is unreal.
Oh, there's not that much time left. They're not a lock to get a touchdown here.
I know, it's only 12 seconds. Oh my God.
10.
Did you see Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl had a good tweet today? He's like, after the Steelers won, he's like, when I was doing the area scout or something for the New England Patriots back in 1997, I put in a grade on Roethlisberger that was an 8.0. And one of the scouts like, 8.0? You put him in Canton? He was like, turns out I was right. I guess like the 8.0 on a 10 scale only goes to Hall of Famers. Second down and 10. The game that will not end.
Jesus Christ. One play.
Herbert. Sideline. Did he catch it? Is that a catch?
Yes, they're giving it to him. Nope, didn't get it. I'm sure they're gonna review it. This is the longest fucking ending I've ever seen in my life. Mainly just because I'm a little nervous he's gonna win. He dropped it.
He didn't complete the process of the catch?
I don't know. It's so close. They're gonna review this thing.
Let me see. I'll tell you. Okay, my first impression catch. Although you see the ball kind of squirt, that's not a good angle.
It's a catch. That's a catch.
Boy,
The
I
ball
think it
didn't
is
move.
a catch.
Yeah.
No, I think
they're
you're right.
They're getting one play. Do you know what's a lock to happen? Raiders, they're going to get off the field.
Penalty in the end zone?
Penalty. Yeah. Doesn't that? I mean, that would feel. Come on.
Raiders are wearing their black uniforms today. You know, they say that they get penalized a lot when they wear their black. Their white jerseys wouldn't have been a problem.
This game has been pretty bananas here.
All right, I won't do the play-by. If everyone knows what happens by the time we talk about it, I won't do the play-by-play.
YouTube needs to get on that.
I know. Last play, fade to Mike Williams.
Well, what yard line are they on? I guess when they give him this catch, it'd be the 10.
It's like the inevitable, like 3 untimed down fades to Mike Williams.
This guy will go for it. He will fucking. Well, I guess
doesn't make any sense if you're playing that. I guess you're right because if you, he's gonna go. You're saying he'll go for the win in regulation as opposed to going to overtime.
I think he might, man. That's
you're not wrong because the percentage is just going to be. But again, his percentages have to be what are the odds you win or tie in overtime, right?
Yeah, because the whole thing is to avoid a tie, right? You want to win. They gave it to him.
You mean his normally the numbers he goes by? Or
yeah, his numbers are they
yeah.
play to win. They play to win, which is weird. Like there is the tie. There's a bald guy too.
That's a good one, Cameron.
That is a pretty good one.
Somebody said earlier, I can't find it. This is like the end of a college basketball game. No, we're ahead of that. Somebody said we're ahead of them. You guys are ahead of me. Uh-oh, I just saw John's reaction. Now I got Herbert dropping back. Oh, my God. Dude, please go for 2.
He's not. You gotta be fucking kidding
I have
me,
noticed the 10-minute overtime does go.
No, it does. I mean, we gotta.
No, I'm not even talking about like. I'm just saying like, holy smokes! It can be like the Niners had one drive basically, 2 minutes left.
This is pretty nuts. The tie conversation. Now they're in position to tie.
But what if he misses the point after? There's a lot of pressure on this kick.
What do you think Mike Tomlin's doing right now? He's got to be watching this game, right?
Jay Glazer, I didn't see it. Somebody tweeted that Jay Glazer said that the Raiders could trade for Mike Tomlin or something. Like what?
I saw that. It's like that's the dumbest.
It was him Payton? Or Sean Payton. Yeah, or Sean Payton. Are they getting an ownership stake?
Yeah, they're going to trade for him. Why would those guys leave their teams?
Ownership stake. If they were like, we will give you 5% of Mark Davis's team. I'm like, well,
I don't think it's legal to do that, is it?
To give a coach a percentage of the team.
I can't believe Brandon Staley's going to win this game.
I thought Jerry West has like a piece of 3 different teams. This or the end of Niners Seahawks 2019? When you say this, do you mean this, or the Niner game today? I mean, this is not better than the Niner Seahawk game in 19. What do you think was better? The Seahawk Niner game in 19, the Dre Greenlaw, Dan Buns game, or today's Niner game? I mean, the difference is that game, was a big game, but they were in the playoffs.
Yeah, you had a walk-off play. Yeah.
This game was losing, you're out. You know what I mean?
Losing, you're out, yeah. Or tie. Tie, you got in. That came into play.
Tie, you got in, yeah. They did come into play. I mean, Herbert was... Holy smokes. What's Herbert on that? Can I get Herbert's drive stats? This is win or die, too. That's true. Or tie. Tie or die. Tie or die. Herbert is now. You ready for Herbert's line?
It's got to be insane.
32 of 58 for 330, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Josh just said Chase Daniels out for the coin toss. Is that for real?
He's a backup quarterback, yeah. I mean,
Well, why would that put him out there for the coin toss? The backup quarterback does the coin toss?
who did the Niners send out? Was it Stafford?
Fred Warner.
Who did this? Stafford?
It was Warner and Stafford, yeah. I mean, Herbert, that possession, John, that was 19 plays. Mike Florio's tweet. What did Mike Florio tweet?
I mean, this is crazy.
Crazy that it's an OT or that the Chargers might win.
Just as an OT, and it's just going forever. It's wearing me out. So we got a 2-hour fucking podcast coming up.
Do you want to just do the podcast?
No, because I won't be able to focus. I'm just mad at something that I can't control. I mean, it just sucks.
Right after you told Herbie to suck it up.
I know. That's why. Again, I'm not complaining. I'm just mad. I just want the game to end.
I agree. I understand. With the Raiders in the playoffs.
I want the Raiders to win this game.
Let the record show.
I want the Raiders to win this game. This would be a pretty gut-wrenching loss for the Raiders, wouldn't it?
I mean, at home.
Did you see some of the tweets about like competitive balance and the league falls under this thing?
Wait, I might be misunderstanding. What are you talking about?
There's like this rule that you have to have like pure competitive. Like you couldn't agree to
Just
a tie
kneel
before
the whole game.
Yeah, you could not do that because they have like tax exemptions, which again I'm totally for. You cannot tie.
You can't fix a game, is what you're saying.
Fuck no, and that's why everyone's tweeting like, no, you can't. That's not the way that's fucking. Those are felonies.
Also, first of all, never in a million years would two teams kneel. And if two coaches agreed ahead of time to try and tie, I said it today. It hit me. I think it's harder to try and tie a game than it is to try and win a game. It'd be really now. If you make a decision late in a game to tie, that's one thing. But to play 4 quarters of football trying to tie is impossible. You
could say in a normal, he would have gone for 2 there in like week 5.
Yeah.
That's because he has.
Well, that's fine. But that's fine. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like that's not. But that's just keeping hope alive. That's not necessarily.
But he did that on purpose. But
that's the right thing. That one's the right thing to do, and that's not ruining competitive balance.
The Raiders are going to go 3 and out here. They're going to lose this game. Do you have faith that they're going to win this game? Herbert just looked like fucking John Elway right there. Did you see some of those passes?
I mean, they did get a lot of. Does Hopkins have a history of missing big kicks?
Who?
Dustin Hopkins, the Chargers kicker.
Feels like their kicker, whoever it is always terrible.
Andrew says, by the way, I forgot Juice was holding on kicks. I didn't because I held my walk-off touchdown?
Close. I mean, they just busted like a 40-yard run. Fuck yeah.
Latavius?
Jacobs.
No, it's Josh Jacobs. Herbert needs Jim Harbaugh. I would sign up for that real fast.
So would Jim. The Spanos wouldn't. He's too expensive.
The NFL might be willing to subsidize that hire. That'd be so good for the sport.
This would be pretty cool. Walk-off touchdown. I
would
wanted the Niners to do it, but it'd be even cooler at home. Niners had a home game today, so.
Another big play?
Just riding Latavius' cousin here.
Little Latavius. Oh, wow. Got to score a touchdown, though.
The
have to
difference is
score
like
the
that
touchdown.
sneaky offensive. Latavius went to UCF, was a 6th round pick. This guy went to fucking Alabama, won a natty, first round pick,
and
like,
is better than Latavius.
Do you think Jacobs does he even know who Latavius Murray is? Honestly,
he's still in the league.
Yeah, he is. But I think this year was like a COVID injury resurrection. I think this was the year he was out, and then they signed him like mid-season.
That's right. That's right.
This to me felt
when
like
they lost.
Like
remember, they lost all their running backs week 1.
It felt like his career is like so. This year he was like the guy on the street. Then when a guy got injured, so then more and more guys join that club, and you just get pushed down. Oh, please win, Raiders. This is the longest Sunday night game I think I've ever seen. It's never been at 9:00 at night. I don't ever remember.
This reminds me of doing like Sunday night sports talk radio. We'll be on following Sunday Night Football. Here with you till 11.
Yeah, come on. We got a special deal.
Well, I used to do a lot of that Thursday night football for sure.
I remember.
I think the first time
Rocket
you came in
Mortgage.
studio with me was a Thursday night game, post Thursday night football maybe.
I need some liquid IV right now. Few too many Tito's.
That was free. Mark Davis going streaking if the Raiders win this. Matt says, John Middlecoff, noted Raider fan. All right.
Irony is like Herbert's. Everyone that likes football, he's like one of our favorite players.
I know. We love Herbert. If you're just tuning into the YouTube, I'll repeat this in a second.
Derek, he fucking had him. Hit that
If
ball,
you're just
Derek.
tuning into the YouTube, we still have not even started the podcast. I mean, we kind of started the podcast, but we have not talked about Rams, Niners, or any of that stuff yet.
Guy that's 4th and 3.
This game's going long,
you have
so
you have to kick a field goal here, Carlson?
Yeah, I think
you
so.
have a choice.
I mean, unless you're playing for the tie, the win or the tie, you could argue.
Well, you want to win. You'd rather win than tie, right?
Right. And if you kick a field goal, they can still beat you with a touchdown.
Yeah. You
The real question is, let's say it's 4th down. Does he make it?
Yeah, it was tight.
Cute. All right, let's say it's 4th down and 1 at like the 7-yard line for the Chargers on this next drive.
You kick a field goal.
Just tie the game.
I actually kind of think this game's going to end up in a tie, don't you?
Because you can't lose. Yeah. I mean,
But
my God, that was close.
But I do believe that these teams are trying to win. That's the thing. This is not shady or nefarious.
No. Now, it might affect the decision at the end, which is fine. That the history of the sport, that's fine. That was so close to hitting the upright.
I mean, that would have been bad. You just extended the guy and he misses a fucking field goal and you lose. So if the Raiders lose this game, it's the Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers are the 6 and 7.
Yep. The only way Roethlisberger's career ends is if this game ends in a tie.
If this game ends up with one of the teams winning, the Steelers are the 7 seed, right? Because they only have 9 wins, and this team would have 10.
Right.
So if it ends up in a tie, that'd be one of the wildest moments I've ever remembered. Like, remember last year, everyone.
If
made
it ends
a big
in a
deal about
tie, does that
Sudfeld?
mean it's Raiders Chiefs? So if you are the Raiders, you don't want a tie.
Well, or who?
Bengals.
The Bengals are the 3.
Bengals are the 4. Oh no, yeah, Bengals are the 4.
Well, no, the Raiders would be the 6.
No, the
Raiders cannot be the 5. So the Raiders cannot. How could the Raiders be the 5? Is New England 10 and 7? They finished 10 and 7. Is that
they
the record?
lost today?
Yeah, New England's 10 and 7, huh? So they'd have the same record. So the Raiders could be the 5.
That's how they played the Bengals.
So if the Raiders win, the Raiders are the 5.
I think that's got to be the scenario, right?
Yeah.
And if they tie, they're the 7.
Are you sure the Chargers aren't the 7?
I'm just going off of the graphic that they put up tonight. Only the Raiders or Pittsburgh can be the 7.
The graphic's really confusing. Maybe I'm just really dumb right now and my head's not working. But
No, it's complicated.
I don't like that they put up the AFC yet. You can't do that shit.
It's just giving you the scenarios here, right?
I know,
but you're right. It doesn't tell you which
black
scenario is rich.
No, it was a poor man's version by the fucking visual guy. They needed something. They were pressuring him, but he doesn't know explaining. Now I get it. He's getting screamed at by Bob Iger.
Also, this one's more about the TV networks than it is about the matchups.
Jesus, how is Jared Cook still so good? Please be holding.
God.
Please be holding. Please be holding. Please be holding. Ineligible. Penalty.
Kenneth says, guys, look which game has the most broadcast networks. Niners are on CBS, Paramount Plus, Prime, and Nick.
They're the Nickelodeon game?
Yeah. This would be devastation.
This would be they're at the 20. Like the Raiders are in pretty good shape here. I actually think, they got to go a long way. The Chargers' history of kicking is pretty shitty.
The Chargers' history of winning is pretty shitty.
Is Herbert you just through year 2, it's like, remember like Shaq or LeBron, you're like, yeah, this guy just looks different than everyone else. Because Mahomes physically didn't look. He was just doing crazy throws. Like this guy is 6'5.5", 240, absolute howitzer. Plays for he's like Shaq at Orlando. Just a clown. And maybe even Orlando was higher level then. It's weird. I don't really want. I wish Herbert
to
could
fail.
make the playoffs.
I know.
Weird spot we're in.
The one thing in hindsight, of the 4, well, I guess actually Roethlisberger. Of the 3, Wentz is definitely third on my list of watchable desirability. Behind Herbert and Carr. Wentz and the Colts did not belong in the playoffs. That's my point.
No, they didn't. He's how did you say he threw the 2 picks in like 15 minutes?
Two picks and back-to-back throws.
Pick 6? Did he throw a pick 6 today? Or was that Mac?
That was Mac.
Were the Jags just like doing shit? I mean, was Trevor Lawrence making sweet throws?
Trevor Lawrence did have a play. High snap. He has to go up, spin.
Yeah, that's the touchdown. I saw that, the touchdown. That was sweet.
That was sweet.
In the back of the end zone.
They just were pounding them. I just felt like they did whatever they wanted. Like they cared more than the Colts.
Is that like one of the worst losses of the last decade?
If
the Colts had won that game, they were in, right?
Yeah.
4th and 9, guy. 4th and 9 for all the marbles. Well, not really, because they can just keep the game going. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Herbert throws. Oh my God. I mean, he's not going to score.
No, but he gets far enough.
Holy shit.
Even Al just said I'm speechless.
I could give me a little Valium. Oh my God.
I went to an Italian spot that Al goes to. Like
Tonight?
Frank Sinatra, Vladi.
What's the name of
it? Dan Tanis. So
is that a last name or a Dan Tana?
Dan Tana. It's like a legendary. I don't think it's quite the hip spot anymore, but like for the 70s, 80s, 90s, Vladi, Sinatra, Clooney has an item.
I'm sorry, did you say Vlade and Sinatra both?
Well, Vlade Divac had his jersey up there. I mean, they loved him. From his Laker jersey.
I mean, how much did Vlade eat at Dan Tana's?
I mean, the portions were the biggest portions I've ever eaten in my life for Italian food.
Pretty good.
Incredible.
Did that guy make good food?
I don't know if he did.
These guys behind the bar?
They had guys that kind of look like that, yeah.
But the red jacket and the black tie?
Yeah, they had like special kind of Italian outfits. Oh.
These guys serve you?
It's just a hole in the wall, jammed.
Wow.
It was cool.
Herbert tries some crazy shit. That's not so crazy because it's him.
Are they in field goal range? Yeah, they are.
Good question.
This is gonna end. This ending a tie. Steelers are gonna miss. Hey, welcome to Dantana's.
Right by the railroad tracks. Wow. 3rd and 6.
Oh my God, he almost caught it. 4th and 6. Does he kick a field goal here? He has to kick a field goal here, right?
I bet he misses a field goal. Yeah, you got to kick the field goal.
This overtime is crazier than. Is this crazier than the Niner game?
Niner game just was one possession.
Yeah.
Basically, right?
Yeah. When he threw the pick, was that 4th down?
I don't know.
No.
It's funny. I left that play out of my notes here. No, I think he misses. What do you think? Make or miss?
Was he clearly? Yeah, I think he's gonna hit it.
Was he clearly beat? Is that what you're gonna ask me?
Oh. No, was there any question that he got his body parts in? Like, was it clearly in? I didn't really see a replay. That was tight. Was it Amber Thomas?
No. Like once you saw the replay,
he had room to spare.
Yeah, he was in butt and shoulder, butt and elbow.
How remarkable was the catch of Mosley under Tart?
The catch of Mosley,
the interception. You know how Mosley intercepted it down the sideline?
Yeah, I mean it was the one thing. You know, it was a 3rd and 10. It was a 3rd down throw, right?
Well, he had him open. He was a little late. When I looked down and the fucking guy was wide open, I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He put a little too much air on it. He should have thrown it like a Favre rope. He had him beat because they were both, one's coming from the right, Mosley's kind of trailing, and then he lobbed it up long enough where Tart had one of those moments where he's just in the air like this. Didn't Tart kind of go up like this and it went right through his hands? Did it go through Tart's hands?
Did it?
Well, Mosley
it did. I didn't
Mosley
think so.
caught it.
Mosley caught it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was first down when we call that the Garoppolo, the first down interception by Stafford.
4:30. Well, now a field goal wins it, right? If you're the Raiders.
Yeah. Yep. I didn't see lip fillers. Was there a lot of that? Can you see it far when you walk the concourse? Can you see like the field?
Yeah.
No,
not really. Actually,
it's hard. I mean,
yeah.
I thought honestly, the best part about that Mosley interception, it prevented the special teams unit from coming on the field. Niners looked like they went for the block a couple of times.
People doing heavy fillers. It's not even close. I mean, it's just, this is my first experience in like the right areas in LA. I mean, we can't compete against Beverly Hills and not. I mean, it's badass. I get it. I mean, I get it. Even West Hollywood, it's like their gay district where we went. Dantana's right down the street. It's so much fun. I mean, I've always been told like I've never really been there, beside like staying in a hotel, work out. It's pretty fucking. I mean, Beverly Hills. We just drove through it one day. It was sweet. But everything has like huge hedges you can't see in.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Kittle just tweeted about a possible tie. What does that mean? Like in this game? Is the tie actually going to happen? George Kittle quote. I'm surprised they don't want to throw that one up on the screen. Networks love throwing up tweets like that.
I don't think NBC does that good of a job on it.
Is the tie going to happen? They'll put that up in like the pregame. They'll do it in the pregame.
If this was going on TNT, they're king of using tweets. But it's usually like Shaq's fat, you know?
Yeah.
Barkley missed a spot shaving or something.
I got on TNT at the beginning of the pandemic because remember at the beginning of the pandemic, inside the NBA had a huge desk, like a massive desk.
It looked the size of like a spaceship. It's like a submarine.
Carr going to get a signature moment?
Would this be the biggest moment of his career?
Yes.
Shit. Face mask. Nope. I love it when a guy does a face mask.
Oh!
Call it, and he's like.
That was definitely a face mask, right? I haven't seen the replay yet. I love when like the Greenlaw play today.
Do you punt here or do you go for it?
Where are they on the field? Midfield?
50.
I think you punt right. You can't put them right back in field goal range. What is it? 4th and what?
They grabbed his face mask. Holy shit. That is a bad no call.
That's a bad call.
Al is not woken up for Twitter. I like that. Zay Jones fucking made some plays the last couple weeks.
What a throw, Derek.
This is also a big fuck you. Like, we don't want to tie with you fucking losers. Dean.
Who had was it Greenlaw that had the ear hole unnecessary roughness penalty early in the game?
Well, I mean, he definitely, when the guy was in like tackled by about 18 guys, he grabbed it and just ripped it down. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, there was that. But who had the unnecessary roughness for like the hit right on the ear hole early in the game, Niner game?
I don't know.
Whoever it was, this was the other favorite, is like when you have a big hit, you walking away like this. There's a flag behind you. Everyone behind you knows that there's a penalty. Everybody in front of you looking at you knows there is a penalty, except for you because you're still celebrating doing shit like this. Derek's played the game of his life.
What's his stats line right now?
Let's take a little peeky peek.
What would you guess? 380 yards?
No, my guess is like 17 31 for 280.
Well, it feels he's completed more balls than that. Overtime?
Yeah, maybe you're right. Let's see.
I'm going to go 23.
Carr is 20 of 36, so we split the difference. You want to guess the yardage?
Probably not as much as you think. I'll go 249.
186.
It's about winning plays, guy.
Absolutely. They've run for 158 yards today.
What was Jimmy's yardage today? 320 or something?
Jimmy was 316, yeah. 23 of 32, 360. A lot of yak.
Play to win, Al. To me, back to what you said about Rich, you've waited your whole life. You're not tying this moment. You want to beat these motherfuckers if you're Rich. Now, obviously, you
just want to not lose, yeah. And if you give them the ball, they could beat you.
What's 1st and 10? I'm just saying, don't you play aggressive? Oh my!
I think
God.
you play to just end the game with the ball in your hands.
Seriously?
I mean, you try to win. Don't get me wrong, but
he's playing a tie, guy.
Well, what are the Chargers doing? The question is going to be when the game gets late, do the Chargers use timeouts?
How many timeouts? You only get 2 in overtime. I think they've already.
Yeah, they each have 2. So what do they do with timeouts? And like, is there some like, all right, because if you try to win, you could also lose.
What if they got him on camera doing one of these?
Like the ball boy, like the Steeler fan. You see that? That guy's having the biggest roller coaster of anybody in that stadium tonight.
You're not going to play to win? I mean, are you serious? He's not calling timeouts.
They're planning to go to overtime. I mean, they're planning to go to the playoffs. They're planning to go to the playoffs.
I can't believe they actually tied. They're going to tie, guy.
This is incredible.
Tie.
Oh my God. I need a isolated camera on the Steeler fan. What just happened? Chargers use a timeout? How much time was on the play clock?
I don't think they liked their look on defense, so he called it like he might have. Because if they did bust a run, he can kick a field goal. He's not.
I thought you were playing a tie.
No, you do not play to tie.
No. My point is, if you're Staley, you can't get baited into thinking they're playing to tie, and then they break out, try to trick you.
Well, if they get in field goal range, they have to attempt the field goal, right? They cannot kneel the ball.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter at that point. And they miss it. Who cares?
But do you think there's a chance he just kneels it out to not risk like getting it blocked and touchdown?
Yeah,
that'd be a pretty controversial deal.
It wouldn't be to me. Like you're just trying to get yourself to the playoffs. I think soccer fans deal with this, but I'm not a soccer fan, so I don't really know.
Jacob's got it. They're in field goal range. You got to kick the field goal. Knock these motherfuckers out. You fucking don't be a pussy. Do not be a pussy. I swear to God, Rich, do not be a fucking pussy.
There's nothing pussy about it.
Kick the fucking field goal and win the game. You're saying don't kick the field goal?
No, I'm not saying don't kick the field goal. What I would love from Rich here, get it down to like 2 seconds, call the timeout, and then kick the field goal. Because you do want to, I mean, if you can win and go to the playoffs, you would do that. But to me, it's just as simple as you don't do anything that keeps you from going to the playoffs.
Kicking field goal. Okay.
God, this is glorious. This is so glorious.
He has to kick the field goal. You're in agreement there.
I'm like 98% in agreement because you do open yourself up to something bad happening if you screw up the field goal. Like on the 1% chance that you
that Derwin James blocks it and fucking someone picks it up and goes,
or you just never live that down. Like you do not get the job. You get fired tonight.
Well, I think you become a legendary human in the league, right?
If you fail?
Way. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It becomes Merkel's boner and I mean, it's the fact that it's a division rival makes it so sweet.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, I mean, Rich Bisaccia might get the job. That's pretty incredible. What a game. What a game.
Fuck the Chargers. But not Herbert. I like him.
I mean, best week 18 ever?
Brandon Staley. What a moment for that guy. You're right. I mean, that's a moment. Fangio never got to have that moment as a head coach, right? In his 3 years as head coach. Not even close.
John Gruden didn't get to.
You interview Rich after the game, right? Rich and Derek? Like, you got to grab Rich.
Yeah.
Michelle Tavoya.
Yeah.
We got it. And
do they always interview the coach, though? I guess they...
No, they don't usually. I'm saying you have to this one. I'm grabbing it.
Yeah.
Isn't he the story? Like, I'm putting my exec hat on.
I mean, Derek has never been to the playoffs.
But he's
quarterback the playoff
But he
team.
agrees to go for the field goal. I'd grab
Oh,
him
yeah. I wonder if the NFL told these guys before the game, like, guys, if you're in that spot, you have to kick the field goal. We cannot have you kneeling it out. The fact that it's a division rival makes it so sweet. Do you think Staley's trying to like signal to Rich from the other sideline, like Rich? I mean, Brandon called the timeout. Now maybe it was because he was going to get smoked.
That timeout might have fucked him.
He also might have given something up on that play. Herbert deserves better. Yeah.
Okay, you want to roll?
I thought you wanted to watch Rich Bisaccia's interview.
No, I mean, fuck it.
Anthony Lynn and Brandon Staley.
The way Al talked, it felt like they're disappearing. Like, they're so far past.
Well, they like to start the post game to get that post game rating. You start the post game as fast as possible. Then you go back to the field.
Okay.
I wasn't even noticing, but that wouldn't surprise me. You start the post game as fast as possible. Like, a first segment of the post game did like a 30 million people watched the first segment of the post game. Like, no, they didn't. Because remember, then Al and Chris come back like 20 minutes later.
Yeah. Do you think they're coming back? There's no way. There's contractual obligations they got to get out. Right?
Well, we're going to see those guys on TV. We're going to see the post-game crew is my guess. And then we'll maybe see a Michelle. You saying because you want to see a Bisaccia interview? Is that what you're waiting on?
Do you? I mean.
No, I mean, I could watch it later. Yeah. But I would be interested on on his thinking on kicking the extra point.
Let's we've come this far.
Kicking the field goal. Everyone's been hanging with us. Thanks for just hanging with us tonight, everybody. It's been fun. We haven't even started yet. So how much time? I got to go back and look at that timeout situation. I didn't see the play clock, but so he calls the timeout 38 seconds before the 3rd and 4. at the 39. So I understand it, right? He's thinking if I get a stop here, then it's 4th and 4. Now they're kicking. I need to get the stop here. Otherwise, they're kicking a chip shot. So I don't think that timeout's actually crazy.
Wait, say that again.
So he calls the timeout
3rd and 4
before the 3rd and 4 play with 38 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. He's thinking I have to get the stop here. We're at the 39. That would make it a 56-yard field goal, but we have to get a stop. So I understand that timeout. Michelle Pro Raiders tonight.
Let's listen to him.
Leather jacket. We're about to get to the Niners. This game has been incredible. We'll get there.
Yeah, relax, buddy.
Unless I missed something, I didn't think Staley was crazy there.
Well, if he had a look, if he thought they had a play call against a look that he was going to give up 10 plays, he'd lose the game. Right?
Yeah.
Like if his booth comes down and goes, we don't have a guy there, or whatever, we're done. If they run this play, you got to call timeout. To me, he screwed.
Well, hold on. I guess it was 2nd and 11 at the 46 is when he called it. Left tackle.
No, he called it on.
No. Okay, 3rd and 4. Yeah, it was right.
Of course, you wanted to win. So the Raiders are the 5 seed. Is that that's
Raiders,
crazy? The 5 seed,
Bengals, right?
Raiders are the 5 seed.
That is crazy. Some of these tiebreakers are just. I guess there were 4 seconds on the play clock. God, I got to pee again. Just
yeah, go. Okay, we're gonna get in the Niners starting now. What a night! I'm so fucking tired. I'm so fucking hungover. I wanted this game to end an hour ago so I could shower. I gotta wake up at crack of dawn, but I am not complaining. I am not. I chose to stay out late last night. I chose to go to the game today. I am not complaining, but I am really tired. I cannot deny that I am tired. But do it for the people, and we're gonna battle through. Ugh. What a night. What a night. I couldn't live on the East Coast. I don't know how you do that. I agree. It's accountability. You know, if you're going to run a business, you know, we got ads that were sold. You got to come through. You can't tap out. You got to battle through, even when you're really tired.
All right.
And even when your head kind of hurts.
Woo.
You know, you just battle through.
All right. So, anything happened while it's gone?
No, we read those first ads, so.
Yeah, I say we start the pod again, but actually I'll just use the ads from before. Just because I think we also say, like,
yeah,
I can use some of the stuff. I don't know, whatever. I'll just use those ads. All right. Not true. Yeah, Liquid IV.
Let's go.
Okay.
So you got the ads. I'm just going to start my audio over.
Uh-huh. Yes, sir. You good?
Yeah, let's go.
We're going.
I mean, we got a long night ahead of us.
We're going. Here we go. 3, 2. Actually, hold on one sec. Look at this clock. And middle cough!
Hey, behaves!
All right, we started the podcast, and then the Raiders-Charger game broke out, and then it went to overtime. And so now we're starting the podcast again. We just hung out for an hour watching the end of that game on YouTube. How fresh are you right now at 9:23 p.m. Pacific?
I think we started the podcast early on in the fourth quarter. I mean, we watched the entire fourth quarter, watched the entire, obviously, overtime. But that was a pretty legendary, epic game, so we made the right call. What a 6 hours, hell, more than that. Because overtime, 7 hours for the NFL.
Incredible. Even so, the morning was not great. The Steeler game was fantastic. And obviously the Colts Charger. There wasn't great football all day. There were two games that were really good early, though. The Colts game was not good, but it was mind-blowing. They lost to the Jags. And then the Steelers-Ravens game was really good. Steelers had to win that game for themselves, and they needed to win that game for this game to matter. Like, if the Steelers lost to the Ravens, this game wouldn't have mattered because the Colts had lost. But because the Steelers won, this game mattered. It almost ended in a tie. We're going to get to the Niners and Rams too, but we just watched that game. Holy smokes. What a finish. Yeah, NFL's very happy. It was perfect, right? If that game ended in a tie, like, it would not have been great.
No, it wouldn't have been great at all. But it's crazy how it worked out. Incredible moment. Honestly, you got to feel good for Derek Carr. Part of that franchise for so long when it was so ugly. Hell, I mean, it was ugly this year. I mean, think of the shit he's seen and been through. To have that moment to get in the playoffs and beat the Chargers, like to beat a division game. Remember, I mean, awesome. That was cool.
James on the stream says, I'm 21 from Pittsburgh. It's 12:30 p.m. I guess it's a.m. I have my first day of college classes tomorrow starting at 8 a.m. I can't wait to listen to you guys for 2 more hours.
Oh, let's go, baby.
Good luck, James. Have fun at school together tomorrow. Tomorrow. Have fun at school tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. So some of the stuff that we talked about earlier, your SoFi Stadium experience, we'll slide that in here. And some of the stuff we told you about what to do, hit that like button. We appreciate that. Well, it'll be a busy week for us this week on the show, which is great. Joshua says, is Haberman going to mention that he wanted to talk about this exact scenario 2 days ago and John said it was impossible? Don't bother talking about it.
We're not going to talk about it. I said it was impossible because there's no way the Jacksonville Jags were going to win that game, and they did.
They haven't lost. I mean, how many days would you say it's been since the Colts have won in Jacksonville? Like
2014.
Over 1,000 days?
No. That's
more
the
than that.
The Rams have not beat the Niners in over 1,000 days.
Okay.
The Colts haven't beat the Jags in Jacksonville since, remember, we went over it.
2014.
Yeah, 2014.
So it's over 1,000 days. It's been a lot longer.
Yeah, I mean, who knows that fucking number?
All right, so we're going to start with Rams, 49ers. John was there. We talked about that a little bit earlier. It was an absolute epic. An absolute epic. And, I think the story of the day, no question, was teams in must-win games, Week 18. There weren't a lot of games that really mattered, but the ones that did were incredible. And the Niners have played in some unbelievable games over the last several years. Playoffs on the line is what makes it. Season ending is what makes it. But this one was pretty incredible. And for it to end, to me, like you and I were talking about this on the last podcast, sports, like crazy shit happens. For it to end with an Ambry Thomas interception was probably kind of perfect, given how, unpredictable sports are. But incredible game.
Yeah, it's one of the most, it's the most remarkable thing I've ever seen live. Just the ebb and flow. They were getting blown out, and to end up winning that game, to have the lows and the highs, the Jimmy roller coaster, you're at a loss for words. We were leaving the stadium. There really isn't anything like the NFL when it's at its best. Sunday night too, right? When it's just the drama, the game's tight, it's really good. You're on the edge of your seat, and because we were watching them warm up, and there's just. And they use the word a lot, body bag game. I saw Debo was using that, and I think Jimmy said that to him, and Kittle was saying it. And, the thing with football is you practice all week for this event that becomes like a Broadway show, but it's a Broadway show meets the UFC /track/ a ball. And it is a violent – that game today was violent. There's people getting hit. The people running for their life. Jimmy and Stafford just under pressure. The plays made, obviously, the Niners, Debo, Samuel, the 3 wide receivers, but, Cooper Kupp was fantastic. It was just Von Miller had the big sack. It was stars. That was a Broadway show, NFL version. 35 million people probably watching. That's as good as it gets.
It is. You're right. It's as good as it gets. And it was almost as bad as it gets. Like, you were there, and it's one of those where you're like, at the end of the day, you for the rest of your life will never again think about how much money you spent on 50-yard line tickets for that game. But there was a point in time where it was like, am I going to leave early? Wasn't there a guy next to you that left early at the game?
Yeah, he
did you get his name?
When they punted, he looks at me and says, "It's over." And I said, "I know." And he walked away. He wasn't crazy. They were going to punt. Even if they got the ball back, they were going to have no timeouts. They were going to have to go, assuming they could even punt it. This was right before Robbie. Their punter was their kicker. And then if you start doing the math, you're like, well, they're just going to get it back at like the 15 or the 12 or the 20. They have to score a touchdown. So he left and never came back. And then Danny Trejo ended up sitting next to me, and we watched overtime together, and it was awesome. And that guy left. That guy fucking left in that moment. And I did it one time with did you do it too? LeBron James game winner with the Warriors, which is not. I mean, it's just a
I remember having the conversation like, let's tell everybody that we stayed.
But it's the regular, random regular season NBA game or baseball, you forget about it. Like in football, especially playoff games or a game like this at Week 18, you never forget being there. Like I'll never forget the pick of the stick because that got them into the playoffs and the way it ended. I'll never forget. Was there another big? Just being at big Niner playoff.
Game
would
6.
Forget.
Weren't you at the Game 6 Warrior game? Weren't you at the Warrior Game 6 NBA Finals?
It was Game 7. It was when LeBron won.
Oh, Game 7.
I got a little drunk that time, but it was just. That was just a moment. Like if you were at the Seattle Niner game a couple years ago, you're still talking about that in your friend groups. Like
we still talk about the pick of the stick, and I loved it, but it was not as, like you said, as good as that.
Because you're playing Atlanta now. You got you into the playoffs, and
it was the last night of Candle. Anyway, it's
when you just have these games that are win or get in. Now the tie, like the Raider game, the tie was at play, but you have to be a complete fucking loser to root for a tie. I refuse to root for the tie, even if it might have been the right, because they would have got the Rams instead of the Cowboys. Which who knows? I mean, can they just keep beating the Rams? Maybe, but I cannot root for ties. I can't do it because it was being talked about in there, right? I mean, everyone's thinking it, watching the game because a tie you're in.
Yeah, see, I don't think everyone watching the game on TV, it was not really a conversation until overtime on TV. Like it was not like the Raider Charger game that everyone had thrown the scenarios out for a week.
Yeah.
So it was not really a conversation. And I think once you're in the game, like once you're in the game, anyone that's ever competed just wants to win the game they're playing. They have, what is it? No quarter, take no prisoners. But no quarter means like, we're not giving them an inch. Like, I don't care if Brandon Staley makes the playoffs.
Here's the thing about sports and just anything, right? Entertainment. You want to remember it and remember it being just remarkable or over the top or something you'll never forget. I think the tie is like, that sucked. The Raider and Niner game had a moment. If you were the fan of the team that won, you never forget that.
Well, especially like imagine the Rams had to put on NFC West Championship T-shirts after that game. That probably was not. They're not framing those photos for their McVay's not putting that photo up in his office.
Chance they didn't put the hats.
Put the T-shirts on. Hats and T-shirts. It was a hat and T-shirt game for the Rams. You know what's really good?
But they knew that, and that's what I started wondering. Did he just tell Stafford, like, who even cares? We already won the division.
You mean that throw down the sideline? It's like once you're in the overtime,
the problem is
knock the Niners out.
And doesn't that just look like Matt Stafford? Like that's just what he's been doing.
Here's the other thing. You're the Rams. You're trying to win the Super Bowl, right? Wouldn't you rather knock out the team that's beaten you 5 in a row and put the Saints into the playoffs? So
guy, that's what I've been talking about with the tie. Like, why do you want your opponent to get in the playoffs too? Right, that's what my. Well,
you don't. I mean, it's not. I don't want to get off on this because Raiders Chargers. We can talk about it.
No. I know, but I'm just saying, like, you want to beat the Rams. You didn't want to tie. Tying's for fucking losers. That's soccer, and it's just not that big in this country, even though it's getting a little bigger. But we don't like that. We want someone to win the game.
Well, of course, but there's a scenario where, again, this is why I don't.
There was a scenario in the Niner game. If they tied, they would have got in.
Understood. But they didn't have a decision where it's like, if we just tie here, we're in. They were never in that position, right? If you have no time left on the clock and it's go for 2 to win or kick the extra point for tie, then you kick the extra point, you tie, you end overtime, and you go to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they kicked the field goal, and I thought, like, would they go for it? But when Kittle got tackled, I think Kittle had 5 catches for like 10 yards. His line just looks pretty funny, but I'll give Jimmy credit on that throw at the their overtime drive. Like you just cannot turn it over. That's what everyone kept saying. Like you cannot. Yeah. I'll take a dump down, especially once Juwan Jennings got them into field goal range, which felt like, I can't, from my angle, I couldn't see it. Was Robbie just banging those kicks today? Was he?
Yeah, he was out of the hold of Kyle Juszczyk.
I mean, Robbie, he played a fucking huge role today on your team. So you just believe in him. I thought Jimmy checking it down to Kittle, like he played very under control on that final overtime drive where interception or something. I mean, it just ends your season, and it was just But back to the Stafford thing. When the ball was in the air, I mean, I thought he was gonna. It was like, oh, Amber, is this guy gonna fall?
He was roasted, right?
Wasn't roasted, but it was one-on-one coverage, and the Niners, how many one-on-one coverage, even if the guy's been around, have balls been made play, guys on the offense have made plays. I saw Kyle Shanahan when we were driving back to the hotel, said after the game, when I first saw Ambry Thomas, basically, like, I never thought in a million years we'd be where we are today. Basically, like, that might sound harsh, but
wait, he's saying when he saw him like in single coverage on Odell?
No. When he saw him earlier in the season, when he saw him in practice, and I bet he was playing scout team against his offense, and they are abusing him. Now, you would be like, well, yes, Debo. How do you cover that guy? But basically his quote was, this guy's come a long way, because he was pretty good today. Like, their DB that was giving it up was 27. And I didn't understand, D'Amico, you can only do so much, but you can't keep putting 27 on 10. That was early on in the game. It was 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 11. It was just, they're going to lose this way. This is crazy. So the irony / I don't even know the right adjective to describe it, of a corner actually winning them the game with a pick. Because Mosley has been good. Like, to me, that's not him and Tart, like, make plays.
But I will say this, like, this is where Stafford comes into play, right? Is if you play a game where Stafford throws the ball enough, maybe he is just destined to eventually throw an interception or two if he's going to throw it up enough.
Do you have his line? Do you have the box?
Yeah, 21 to 32, 238, 3 touchdowns. But he was 15 of 16 in the first half, which means in the second half he was 5 of 12 for 76 yards. Okay. Yeah. I don't have his what's his overtime?
Well, I mean, they basically went 3, maybe they got 1 first down.
Yeah. So he was 1 of 4 in overtime, John. So that means he was 6 of 16 after halftime. That's pretty terrible.
Here's what's weird. You want Stafford to throw just because what he's been doing the second half of the season, the numbers speak for itself. But you're watching the game thinking, and anytime that you know your team so well, like, anyone listening to this, watch the game, you watch every 49er snap of Kyle's career. Like, you know the strengths and weaknesses of all the players, besides probably some guards and centers. You don't, because you're not watching them. But, like, all the skill guys, the linebackers, the running backs, you got a pretty good beat on it. And you're just thinking to yourself, why do they not just continue to pass? There's no way to stop it. Every time you run it against the Niners, and I would just say in general, it goes back to the Titan game, is a huge win for the Niners. And I just don't get. And I couldn't be a coach. I have no desire to be a coach. These coaches are crazy. Like, what are we doing? Like, we have to establish a run for what? They cannot guard Cooper Kupp. He was killing them, guy. Killing them. And Stafford, when he threw it to him, it always looked good.
Yeah. No, he was. I
thought Cooper Kupp. I was like, am I watching the white Jerry Rice? I thought that. I was like, this guy is. Because I don't talk shit about him, but in my back of my head, I'm like, is this guy really this good? You watch him live, you're like, that guy's a badass. Like, that guy today, like, you left Debo, Von Miller, you just the stars. It's like, that guy's a star.
He was 5 for 85 in the first half, 2 for 34 in the second half. You're right. He felt uncoverable, and I'm sure he's probably one of the things that's like worth the price of admission.
How sweet was
you
like
can't watch receivers the same way on TV as you can in person.
What you thought was going to be the game-winning touchdown, potentially, when they ran, like, Cooper on this little, like, loop, and then he shot toward the back of the corner of the end zone. I'm like, that's a pretty good play.
He made that catch, and the catch he made earlier on the drive was like, how did he?
Wasn't Jimmy Ward there both times? Wasn't Jimmy there both times?
Yes. The first time, like, went through his hands.
So I'll give D'Amico credit. He took 27 off of him, and he put Jimmy on him, and it's just hard. I mean, Jimmy's just right there. It's just Stafford. The ball that he hit before the touchdown on that one where he got blitzed and threw it up there, that was like, that's the NFL. Like, that level of throw. Love Jimmy, and we'll talk about him later. A lot of respect. I don't know. Jimmy's got that one in the back. Now, I'm not Stafford. I got him red flagged. I think they are no lock to win this week. But that was a remarkable throw.
Championship throw. Like, those are the throws that you make you a legend in the Super Bowl when you hit that throw.
Yeah. The problem is he just won't be in the Super Bowl.
No.
Like, you just leave this and you go, now it's a matchup thing. But there is something that the Niners have, and it's different because the plays are different, and the Harbaugh teams were just a little bigger, right, up the D line. They just, Bowman and Willis are just a different level of Greenlaw and Fred. But Kyle, the toughness of the team, it is hard not to love a team when they're just like, our guys are fucking tough.
Yeah.
Our guys are just tough. Like
it includes
mentally. The Steelers, the Saints, like I got a bunch of respect for you hear this a lot with college coaches and when all these NFL guys are going to get hired and they're going to talk culture. You see culture. Like the Niners culture is we're going to fucking throw haymakers. And they could have easily tapped out like my next door neighbor that walked out. But even before that, I mean, the money's the money. It's gone. It was more that you buy a movie ticket, you buy a game ticket, and you never know what you're going to get, especially with a game. Probably more in a movie, you have some idea. With a game, you truly have no clue. And it really felt until that drive, even at the end of the half, and you didn't know what to really make of it. I was like, I didn't want to put too much stock in the 3 points. But are they going to lose this game 38-7?
Well, it was kind of like the Texans, right? At the end of the half where they just got a good drive going, and then as it turned out, it did kind of roll into the next half. And I did think one thing that stood out, well, I don't want to get to Jimmy yet, although I won't get to Jimmy yet. The other thing I'll say, just big picture on the game, and then we can get into some other specifics, was the defensive front was fantastic. Now, there were times when they didn't get there, and Stafford did make a play, but he was under pressure the whole game. I mean, you know who's really good? Eric Armstead was really good.
Well, he had 2.5 sacks today.
2.5 sacks. Bosa was obviously really good. They do such a phenomenal job. I mean, it's undeniable the development that they do. Obviously, having Bosa or Armstead, these are physical freaks. But, like, every guy they add becomes a contributor on defense up front. Yeah. It's incredible.
He changed Arden Key's career, right? He's going to get him a contract.
Yeah.
Might not be too crazy, but he'll get him a $6 million or $2.10. That's this guy. There is something in football. Like, what it turns out watching that game, like George Kittle, Jalen Ramsey, Trent, who, let's keep our fingers crossed, can make him on the sideline made me feel pretty good. I know Kyle said after he got there early today, like he desperately wanted to play. I think Trent's proven like tough guy, so I'm not, he couldn't play. But when you have just these unreal players that just continue to get better, and part of it is coaching, and I think Sean's really good too. Like, I mean, for whatever reason, but Sean has made Cooper Kupp a star. Right, under his watch, those guys on offense get better. Under Kyle's watch, those guys improve. Under this defensive line coach's watch, that guy, I would guess Chris Kasarik makes $1.5 million. Now, he might not be, I don't know if another coach would feel comfortable making him his defensive coordinator. Maybe he's just, a line guy. He doesn't know, coverages as well. Because that's Jerry Azzinaro, Chip's guy that everyone talks a bunch of shit about. That he's a good defensive line coach. Armstead, Buckner, all those years, with when they got to the Eagles, like he does a good job. But he doesn't know what he's doing as a coverage guy. But when you're as good as Kasarik, or you have a friend like Chip, but that guy made a mistake. He went to be the defensive coordinator. Kasarik, you can be a $2 million defensive line coach. Like, what is he worth to Kyle and Jed and John? What's he worth to Bosa and Armstead? If I'm those guys, like, hey guys, we got to keep this motherfucker around. I give Jerry credit with Kellen Moore. The best part about the no salary cap with the coaches, like you can cut big boy checks.
And even big boy checks for coaches are not big boy checks for players. So a coach that gets a lot more out of a player than his salary is an invaluable asset, right? Well, what difference does it make to that? Like we talk about all the time. If you said, okay, you're going to go from paying him 1.5 to 2.25, all right? Let's pay him way more money than anybody.
Let's just use a pick. Even though he's making $1 million this year.
Okay, let's say you double it to 2, right? Imagine where you spend that $1 million from a player standpoint. And this one doesn't count against the cap. The guys you signed for $1 million, you do not get, by and large, the value on those players that you get out of your defensive line coach.
Facts. And sometimes, the head coach who happens to be the coordinator, this is the best thing about Kyle, is you never have to worry your coordinator leaving. Because Debo has become a star, and Kyle deserves credit, so does Wes Welker. And Brandon Ayuk was a first-round pick. But when you can take a Juwan Jennings, like watching that guy live, I've been to now a decade worth of game. I've been to a lot of NFL games over the last 10, 11 years. You watch that guy and you go, this guy physically is a legitimate NFL player, right? I mean, he pops on the TV, breaking the tackles, the size, how smooth he catches the ball. When you can't, and think of what they just did. they replace Bourne with him. Like, that's hard to do. You know, it's hard to replace. It's obviously impossible to replace stars. Like, if Nick Bosa disappears, you're fucked. When George Kittle was out of the lineup, the Niners are in trouble. I mean, even Trent Williams, I don't know how they did it, but somehow they did it. But this is not, they cannot, you know, they can't beat the Cowboys without Trent Williams. You see, and you have to have Trent Williams back. If you don't, like, that's a major problem. Micah Parsons is going to beat the shit out of any one of these random offensive linemen that most people watching have not heard of unless you're like a draft nerd. Because that was, see, when you're at the game, I had to rely on you. Like, immediately I got 3 texts. Trent Williams out, WTF. That was a crazy moment, probably, I'm sure, when you saw it online, right?
Yeah.
Because then we immediately, me and Scotty go, listen, you're going to lose, you're going to lose. But couldn't this just be a, like, mono versus mono, our best players versus your best players, and have it out? And now you take away the Niners against a pass rush. Aaron Donald, I didn't really notice him today.
They were doubling him on every play, I think.
So it's just
every replay was just 4 hands on Donald.
The Niners' best players today, and Jennings, were just fantastic war daddies. Like that is, and this is the Harbaugh guys really had it, right? Now, some of those guys, I think this Niner group, and I don't know these guys personally, besides like Juszczyk, who texts a little bit, but they really seem like pretty good guys, right? The Niners had some dudes that were, you know, Alden, Ray McDonald. I mean, going to jail, getting arrested a lot. But like Bowman and Willis, high level guys, also with those, like they had a lot of competitive. Frank, Vernon. They also had a lot of high level guys too. But they also, like, this Niner team does not have Ray McDonald beating women on the side, right? But Ray McDonald at the time was a huge part of like their toughness. The Niners guys, the toughness they have with like their high character guys, and again, people are going to act like I'm not trying to compare them to the Patriots, but one thing the Patriots have always had, for the most part, over like the last decade, is they have really impressive guys who are badasses. Like Gronk and Edelman, and just guys like McCourty, Slater. It's like, I want to go to war with that guy. Now, am I going to win every game? Well, if you're Bill, you did win most of them. The Niners, it's been a little more difficult, but it's like, I want to be in the
Aaron
foxhole.
Hernandez.
But he's been gone. I'm talking the last decade. He's been gone now. So, you know,
he's coached for 20 years. You're bound to have some bad apples, John.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, if you're going to take a swing, you just like, I got a chance. And you may lose, but it's like those guys today, their best players are just like, and Elijah Mitchell, that guy just fits in with the crew. It's like, I'm a badass, hand me the rock. How many tackles? I mean, you can see his sweet runs, but on TV, you see him like breaking tackles, I'm sure. That guy was awesome today.
Well, like when you say box score scout, I don't know what 21 for 85 and 4 yards per carry tells me about Elijah Mitchell, but it's not anything close to what I saw him do on the field. And just listening to you talk kind of crystallized the argument. Somebody sent me a tweet today that was Matt Nagy's career record versus Kyle Shanahan's career record.
Was it
He's
better?
like, well, Nagy's been to the playoffs. No, it's not better. It's different, right? Because he's coached less years. But, like, but Matt Nagy's been to the playoffs, twice? Kyle's been once in 5 years if they lose today. Did
the Bears have a bye this week? They even play?
They started Andy Dalton. There was one clip on Red Zone where it's like Dalton gets sacked and Siciliano or Scott Hansen's like Matt Nagy told Andy Dalton, we're gonna start you, but we're not gonna give you any offensive linemen. And I mean, it was just a rush.
If you said a guy walked through this door right now and said, John, here's $1,000. Can you tell me who the Bears play? I'd have no clue. I mean, I could probably get in my mind, kind of work through some of the games and get close, but I could not tell you that they had a game today.
They lost to the Vikings. But just listening to you talk kind of crystallized for me, you know, when we debate Kyle Shanahan's, and obviously making the playoffs is a big part of Kyle Shanahan's resume.
I'd say getting to 10 win. I'm having a double-digit win season again.
Double-digit win season, yeah. Beating the Rams 6 times in a row now is a big part of his resume, given how good McVay is and how good the Rams are. But I think in the debate of, is Kyle Shanahan a good head coach or just a really good offensive coordinator? And I don't think it's even a debate that's being had right now, but it is kind of a side conversation that goes on. I think the part that can't be ignored with that, we can talk about personnel decisions, some. The Jennings one was a very good one. But he clearly his program has a culture, an established culture that doesn't really waver, even when it's down 17-0 in an elimination game. And I think his culture is a physical one. I think the culture of his team is a mental one as well. There is a mental toughness with the Niners. There is say what you want about Jimmy Garoppolo. There's a mental and physical toughness with Jimmy Garoppolo. A certain baseline of it that he just has. And I do think that has to, anytime we have the conversation, whatever comes in the postseason, whatever comes next with Trey Lance, I don't know. But I do think the conversation about Kyle Shanahan has to include, yes, he's a great play caller. Yes, he has an established culture, which is a head coach thing, right? Because it's on his defense too.
I would say watching over Christmas, and listen, how good of a scout this guy is. It's only the thing with scouts, like we can tell coaches, right? It's Hightower's not very good. He's just not. I mean, guy almost gave him a touchdown today. Is that the play Wisnowski got killed on? Did he get concussion on that play?
Yes,
of course, because he was the last guy in defense. They had a sweet wall. That was awesome. The Niners, Hightower's a mark, and you
notice the Rams kicked it into the end zone in overtime. Debo was back there.
Their kicker was bombing it.
They put Debo back there.
Debo's back there a couple times.
Oh, was he?
I think he was back there in the fourth quarter too. Is back to what I was saying. Like I don't think and I always felt this when I got fired as a scout. Like who knows my work? Like who knows? Besides like Howie and Lewis. But as a coach, like Kasarik, like you just get to watch positions. You go, God, I bet Wes Welker. Wouldn't it be shocking if Wes Welker doesn't become an offensive coordinator in the next couple of years? Played for Bill, played with Peyton. Fucking Kyle's guy.
Yeah, I mean, you would think is a good interview, but receiver, you don't. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But you would just say his career. I think did he have the ecstasy moment? Maybe that is something to keep.
Yeah, see, I'm not positive on that one.
Yeah, now I'm talking it out. But okay, whether he leaves or not, we know Wes Welker's probably pretty good at his job, right? Kyle wouldn't have him coaching that position. Like he's good. We don't know about John Lynch, but John Lynch going in the Hall of Fame, it just forces you to watch a lot of those highlights of John Lynch. And then if you watch his football life and anyone, the way they talk about him, highest character guy in the building, Stanford educated, everyone fucking loves him. Yet he played like he would have played like George Kittle or Aaron Donald or just some absolute killer. And I can't, it has to play a big role in just that when he talks to a guy, like he has to, like he brings value. He's just too smart, and just his playing career, Kyle's going to get all the credit, and deservedly so. That's what happens when you're the head coach. But I think John has to clearly doing some shit of just like adding some value.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you miss with trying to build a team that way, right? Like you overdraft for.
Well, Belichick's been doing it for 20 years. He's just he missed on a lot of picks because they always. Talking to a guy that used to work there, he told they just really, really valued the intelligence aspect.
So you get your Cleveland Furls and your Solomon Thomases, right?
And I think Mayock and John were kind of similar in that. And you're right. There is when you get Devin White, you just got to pull the trigger. But there's also like you end up with Max Crosby and Hunter Renfrow and Jawan Jennings and Jimmy. I mean, I give him a lot of credit on Jimmy Ward. I would have probably moved on from Jimmy Ward when Kyle first got here. I'm like, I don't think this. Kyle loved him. And Jimmy Ward's a culture guy. Give Balky some credit. Like Jimmy Ward is a guy you just want around. Now he's flawed.
I'd say Tart the same thing.
He's Tart just like walked out of the game late in the game. It's like Tart, there's like 10 minutes. What are we doing here? I don't know what his injury was. He went in the blue tent and never saw him again.
Yeah.
Hufanga was out there for a minute. You're like, oh my God,
he got hurt. Yep.
Yep. This is going to be a problem.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it is.
I just think that they're just tougher than the Rams. And there's a culture of toughness that the Niners just have. And the Rams are fucking amazing. Amazing might be strong, but they just won 12 games. They won the division. Like the Niners would trade to be in their shoes, to be a home game and division champ, right? But when they play, there's just something they got that the Rams don't. And it's weird, right? Because you'd say Ramsey, Donald, I mean, Vaughn's a legend. Like they got tough guys. Whitworth is just old, but I think Andrew Whitworth is viewed as like a tough guy. You know?
Yeah.
He just might not be. One of their problems is when you do the trade stuff they do. Now, the Niners are going to miss first-round picks too, but how do you find, like, they have no avenue to get offensive linemen. You know where you usually draft offensive linemen? Pretty high. And they always trade picks. Like, they've had to – do you think ideally – again, this guy follows me on Instagram. I saw Andrew Whitworth, so I like the guy. But do you think ideally you want a 40-year-old playing left tackle for you when you're trying to win a Super Bowl? That's a lot to ask.
Yeah.
He kind of came back for them because they was like, what are we going to do? We don't have an avenue to find the guy.
Yeah.
The Niners got lucky in there. They would have been a little shit out of luck, right? They were given a gift from Trent.
You mean when Trent Williams didn't sign with the Chiefs?
But even going back, remember, like Minnesota wanted to trade for him and extend him, and he said, no, I want to go to the Niners.
Culture.
Even just to get him around. And you'd say this, Trent being with Kyle last year in a tough year, clearly, now they paid him. But I think Trent really enjoyed. I mean, his best friend on the team is Deebo Samuel. Do you see some of the videos going viral of those two guys?
Yeah.
In the locker room?
I mean, the fact that he, we've talked about it before, but the fact that he wanted to be a Niner, you go back, one of the differences is the dedication to running the football. If you're looking for differences, right? Especially now, the Rams have struggled to they've had running backs hurt. Once upon a time, they definitely did it at a better rate than they've done it lately, especially today.
Well, they had a star running back once upon a time, right?
Yeah. And they rode him. But the Niners came out for that second half. They score on Deebo Samuel has scored the same exact touchdown 9 times this year, it feels like, right? That just like run around either tackle and just turns it, and it's always like a 17-yard touchdown.
But why are you able to do that, though? Because you have two guys that are, Pro Bowl tight end and a Pro Bowl.
They back off Middlecoff's. They shutting down Middlecoff's internet, the Hyatt? Well, let's wait a moment. Let's wait. It'll be fine, Andrew. Okay, there you go. I'm sorry. The audio will probably have you saying it, but I should probably edit it. You said they had a Pro Bowl.
Well, they have a Pro Bowl fullback and a Pro Bowl tight end who just will get down and dirty all game long. All game long.
Yeah.
I look down a couple times with Juszczyk celebrating. It's like, I don't think he gets talked about that often, and just as part of being the low man, it's awesome to watch.
So they score the touchdown, make it 17-10. Then they get a punt because D'Amico blitzed. That was where D'Amico blitzed on third down. And Dre Greenlaw got to. That was the play that I thought they might penalize Greenlaw on. I thought they might penalize Greenlaw on the 3rd and 7. Anyway, they punt. Then the Niners come out and have 10 straight runs to the Rams 24. And then, John, a miracle of miracles. Stan Kroenke's roof opened up, and God touched down Kyle Shanahan's playbook and said, finally, a trick play will work. And the Deebo trick play to Juwan Jennings, which, watching live, could you tell there was how open? Describe that play.
Well, Scotty was locked in. He said, throw the ball. You lose.
Yes. All right, he's going to get out and try and come back. Throw the ball. This is going to be fun for editing later for the our editor who's asleep right now. He'll be back. In the meantime, check this out. Middlecoff will love this when I show this to him. Let's see if I can show you guys this. This, I just saw this. Carr said the timeout changed the Raiders' mindset after Brandon Staley called a timeout late. And check out this video. It looks like Austin Eckler's being told, oh, Middlecoff, you back? I'm going to edit this. Oh, you froze again. He waved. Then he froze. We got a frozen wave. I can hear you giggling. All right.
I don't know what to do.
So Scotty said, sorry, just finish that thought, and then we can move on.
Throw the ball. I just assumed that Deebo was going to run it, and then he threw it, and it was awesome, even though he almost dropped it. Or double caught it.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about Jimmy Garoppolo. The game that we thought he may never start again. And, one thing I was thinking watching him was he's seen Tom Brady do a lot of incredible stuff. I don't know if we've used the word grit a lot with Jimmy, but, you look back through the history of Tom Brady's playoff career. I'm not comparing Jimmy Garoppolo to Tom Brady here, but not every game's perfect. And that's, life is made up of most days where you don't feel amazing from the second you wake up to the second you go to sleep. You got to get shit done anyway. And to me, that was Jimmy's day today. Like, hey, man, I'm not pulling you out of this game. Your thumb hurts as much as it hurts. We got to find a way. And I thought the drive at the end of the first half, he was pretty damn good. Like, he made some really good throws when he had time and wasn't rushed. And the physical nature of his throws was pretty good. In the end, 23 of 32, 72%, 316, 2 interceptions, 1 in the baby zone, which was the crazy Jalen Ramsey.
It was a bad throw to Kittle. Kittle was, I don't even think, looking. Was Kittle looking?
Yeah, Kittle stumbled, and then it was going to be a bad throw either way. I mean, he was behind and high a lot today. It was just a great play after that by Ramsey, though. But what do you think of Jimmy?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta tip my hat to him. He earned my respect today. That was a gut check. That was, I learned under Bill, Josh, and Tom. That was, I've been through shit with Kyle. That was a drafted my replacement who literally just started last week and had some moments. And then to be getting your ass kicked like that. The other thing you said about his arm strength, being there live, his arm looked really good. He was throwing BBs. And maybe it's just because he gets rid of the ball so fast, but like, I don't think the naked eye could tell that Stafford throws it that much harder than Jimmy. And he's going to throw the picks, and they avoided it somehow. But he made some plays. That final drive, I thought when they punted, it was the craziest fucking thing ever. Even though, I mean, looking back, it's like 4th and 18, you go, the game's probably over. You had 3 timeouts. But, like, what if they run a route to Cooper Kupp and the game might have ended?
Yeah. So they punted with 150 left is what they punted with. And they got it back with 127.
The throws he made when they got it back, the Ayuk throw was good. The Debo throw is one of Jimmy's best throws as a 49er.
Yeah.
In kind of that honey hole between the safety and the corner. The corner who just happens to be, I don't know, their best player, who's long, who leaped for the ball. The angle that I had, when he leaped and went parallel, I didn't think he was going to, you could kind of tell the angle, it wasn't going to hit him in the hands, like to catch it, but I thought he might knock it down. And then he's on the ground, right, when they completed it, so he gets to take off. And I think Debo said the only reason I didn't score is because I had my shirt untucked, which happens to Debo sometimes. But I'd say that play, like that to me was the most remarkable play I thought of the day.
It was. The other thing that was incredible about that play was that Debo was facing the sideline. His shoulders were to the sideline. He had to turn completely around. He turned facing the ball, turned the other way, caught it, and then just kept running the other way, which is incredible.
I'm no Dick LeBeau, but I think Jalen was told, because they have no timeouts, he's guarding the sideline. They don't want to run like a 20-yard out or something to lead him out of bounds. And this is where he showed a lot. I mean, they go through what he went through last week, and it felt like it's just over. Now, Kyle, clearly it wasn't over with Kyle, but to come out of the halftime down 17-3 and to come back and make some of those throws that he made. The Jennings throw, I didn't see the replay. Was he just wide open?
Yeah, he was wide ass open.
Someone like, how did he get so open?
You talking about the touchdown or
I'm talking about the touchdown that basically took him to overtime.
Yeah, but there was another Jennings play on that drive, which was a pretty good throw too, from Garoppolo.
Your boy here immediately when Jennings scores throws up too.
I started thinking it too, and then they had just made the point, or maybe they hadn't made the point yet on TV, that a tie got him to the postseason. By the way, it wasn't over for Kyle and Jimmy. That'll be what you're saying next year, week 1, when Garoppolo's starting for the 49ers.
He wins a couple playoff games. I do think he made some throws today. We were talking about this in the car ride back to the
first round pick
to the Marriott. Just blue collar guy or internet. Actually kicking back in. Is that those throws? What would the football team? What would some of these teams that don't have quarterbacks, the Giants, do for that?
That's why we keep saying he's clearly a starter. But again, what we're talking about is a separate. I don't want to have this conversation tonight necessarily because I'm celebrating Jimmy tonight, John. But my
point is he proved he's worth more than I think I talk about sometimes.
Maybe, yeah, probably depends.
Other teams for sure. They don't have quarterbacks, guy.
You gotta get some bidding. Maybe he's worth a third, but I don't.
I'm not saying a first. I'm just saying his value today. Like, how many guys have that in the bag? He outplayed Stafford when it mattered.
But this is what I'm getting at though. Is like you play a quarterback that plays a button-down game and you're not beating them, right? But that's okay. He threw 2 interceptions. This is what it is. No one's playing perfect games, and it's the playoffs or a playoff level game. People aren't playing perfect games. And certainly Matthew Stafford's not playing a perfect game. So, I mean, Jimmy's kind of on the franchise with the iconic late game quarterback, Joe Montana. And then he goes and plays for the franchise, right? He plays for the Niners, the iconic late game quarterback team. Then he goes and learns first from the iconic comeback Tom Brady team. And he had multiples. I mean, the one he had at the end of regulation. I mean, 2 basically season-saving drives in one game. In 2 drives. 2 season-saving drives in 2 drives. The touchdown to tie the game, and then the drive that had multiple big plays on it. A 3rd down conversion to Juwan Jennings was, I mean, probably the biggest. Like, it's just incredible. Just incredible. I know he froze. I was going to talk as long until I could. Wouldn't you agree with everything I just said?
Great points. Great points.
I mean, two season-saving drives and back-to-back drives. One to tie the game, one to win the game in overtime.
Well, he's had multiple moments now in his career with the Niners, on the road, final week of the season. Just fucking made plays. Now, this was more of a roller coaster ride, I think, if we look back on the Seattle game. But that I can't get over the throw to Debo. That was, I think, the best throw of his career. It was the best throw of his career.
You know what's funny is when I saw it.
How long was that throw? Like 25 yards in the air?
It was a long throw. I don't know the exact yardage, but I know that when I saw it, I thought I was like getting ready to tweet like, that's as hard as Jimmy Garoppolo's ever thrown a ball. And then you watch the replay. Like, I thought I was going to watch him like wind up, put his whole body into it. But he didn't. He just threw it. No, I mean, it was really, he just threw it normal. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Now, he did have, the ball behind Debo that was right before the Juwan Jennings goal line touchdown. He did it again in the overtime. He just missed some of those balls. That's part of the deal. That's just part of the deal.
Yeah, I mean, he was a roller coaster today. A good roller coaster. A respectful roller coaster.
He is.
He was a roller coaster.
I think he's got to be one of the most exciting players. Like, it's just, in a good way, it comes with the bad, comes with the good. But what's undeniable is, as mad as he makes some people sometimes, he is a good quarterback. He's a starting NFL quarterback, like you said, who can, I mean, better than starting. Like, these are moments that.
What I think he's a top probably 20 quarterback who can have moments in games that a lot of those guys in the teens just don't ever have. And I think it gets back to the toughness. I think it gets back to the way he was raised in terms of in football raised.
Yeah.
People he's been around. And he's just a tough guy. He's got some flaws. It's pretty nuts that they overcame his picks. It really is.
Cap speaking on the YouTube stream says, we almost had 3 100-yard receivers today. 107 for Ayuk, 95 for Debo, 94 for Jennings. Wow. I got a few people tweeted at me like, Jennings is everything that Jamal Hurd was supposed to be. And I would say
Jalen.
Yeah, Jalen Hurd. It's not. I mean, it's funny. Jalen Hurd was supposed to be like a running back too, but
yeah.
But like you said earlier,
Juwan Jennings is just a good football player.
7th round pick. I mean, it's just,
yeah. I think sometimes when you draft a guy and he gets a hype machine, we probably played a role in that. He was never going to be that. Now he always got hurt. Like this guy's playing in the NFL. Like this guy's not going away, right? Like it was pretty clear after like a year of Kendrick Bourne, you're like, they're not going to be able to keep this guy one day.
Yeah.
Now Juwan Jennings is pretty new to the scene, right? He's still got a ways to go. I think this is like his 2nd year in the league. But holy shit, he made some plays today, breaking tackles, getting open. It was awesome.
You hope that he's eventually not affordable for them and they have to replace him again. John, before we go any further, let's tell the people about Sleep Number. sleepnumber.com/ham. John is a 30. He likes his Sleep Number bed soft. My Sleep Number is 60. I like it firmer. We'll find out what they got for John at the Marriott tonight. Hope he's able to recover. I know what's going to be really important for you, Middlecoff, is your Monday night sleep when you get back to your bed. In the new year, here's a resolution. Make sleep your number one goal. Whether you've set out to exercise more, eat healthier, maybe for you parents out there, have a little more patience. Maybe for you people who just get stuck in traffic like me, have a little more patience. Most of the resolutions that you make will benefit from more sleep and from, it's not just about more, it's not just about raw hours. It's about quality sleep. Okay. This is the key.
Guy. Keep it going.
This is the key to overall health. This is the key to performance. This is the key to mental well-being. You can make healthier decisions in the kitchen. You can make healthier decisions for your workout when you're well rested. These things all work hand in hand. John, you know what we call it, John? We call it complementary football. Okay. So right now, go to sleepnumber.com/ham. Discover special offers now for a limited time at your local Sleep Number store or by going to sleepnumber.com/ham. Sleep Number. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. Podcast also brought to you by BetterHelp.com/HamPod. BetterHelp.com/HamPod. BetterHelp. We are sponsored by BetterHelp, which is online therapy. When you go to BetterHelp.com/HamPod, what happens? Well, you get options. Okay. You can chat with somebody. You don't have to put your camera on if you don't want to do that. Okay. You just want to get into a little conversation in a safe environment. You can do that before maybe you're not comfortable yet. You can do that with just a little chat if that's what you want. You can find licensed professional counselors who are specialized in depression, stress, anxiety, relationships, sleeping, trauma. Anything you share is, of course, confidential. This is convenient. It's affordable. You can check out more of the testimonials that are on the site daily at betterhelp.com/HamPod. You don't have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room. Nothing like I watched that the Will Ferrell. Did you watch that movie?
I saw it
or
recently.
that show.
I saw it recently.
It was a little much for me, but I watched it, and there was always like the moment when one person comes out, another person goes in, and it's like, oh, you hear like the last piece of advice that the professional gave that person, but that doesn't happen. Okay, you'll get timely, thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions. You can send a message to your counselor at any time. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online. So if you want to start living a happier life today as a listener, you'll get 10% off your first month by visiting our sponsor, betterhelp.com/HamPod. Join over 1 million people who've taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/HamPod.
I rode you like Debo there. I didn't want to risk, the audio.
No, it's great. That's fine. We had a few other things here. What did you? Was there something else on the Niner game you wanted to hit? I mean, there's a million things.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Was there something else on the Niner game you wanted to hit there? I may have not made note of it.
No. I mean, I want to hit on something on Kyle Shanahan as a coach, as the offensive coordinator.
Okay.
I thought he really took over today, and I thought he had a moment. Obviously, coming out of halftime, scoring that ball. Right, they score at halftime to make it 10-17. Then they get, I think, a 3-and-out. And then they get the ball back, and that's when they ran it completely down their throat, which felt like 75 5-yard runs, maybe a couple like 6-7 yard runs in there. There was just, we're coming at you left, coming at you right, the same plays. His toss play, but it's not a long toss play. It's like the toss where the guy's kind of right there, and then he just kind of runs it right up. It was Elijah or Debo. And that was a moment where Kyle, and this is, you and I talk about this all the time, ad nauseum almost, why it's so important to have your coach, whether it's Andy Reid, Sean Payton, these offensive guys that can just take over the game as a play caller. And he had a moment today where it was like he flipped it into gear. And it was like watching a guy in his zone calling those plays. And then hit the trick play, the timing of that. Why I missed Jawan Jennings sneaking out, because why wouldn't he keep running the ball? That's what he does. It was perfectly timed. And the thing with the trick play, anyone knows this listening, the timing of it. Right? Sometimes you can just completely fool people. And it's like, God damn, I didn't even know what the hell that thing was. But on a play like the Niners ran, like a double pass or run play, when it's a variation of what you've been running, that was genius. And it worked. That's as good of a trick play as I ever remember Kyle calling. Maybe they've done some in like meaningless games, but in a big game, that was awesome.
Yeah, that drive, John.
They went berserk, guy. I mean, Debo hit the ground. They went ape shit the sideline after that play. Ape shit.
Well, they've had a lot of trick plays, and like, not a lot, but they've tried to have other people throw the ball, and it doesn't really seem to work that well for them. Elijah 7-yard run, Elijah 2-yard run, Hasty 4-yard run, Debo 8-yard run, Debo 5-yard run, Elijah Mitchell 6-yard run, Elijah Mitchell 3-yard run, Jimmy for a yard.
Kind of scrambled out. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Elijah Mitchell 9 yards. That might have been the toss play. Elijah Mitchell 5 yards, and then bam, Debo touchdown pass. Juwan Jennings.
When they hit that, I thought they could win the game. That was the first time I thought they could win the game. Because even still, they're driving on that drive. They're down 17-10.
Right.
It's a long way to go. But when they hit that, I'm like, this is on like Donkey Kong. And then I think the next drive, Stafford threw the pick to Mosley. So then they got the ball back 17-17. My memory serving me correct there?
The next, notes. Yes, correct.
That moment was like, they're not winning the game, or are they going to win by 20?
The Garoppolo play was a third down sneak, 3rd and 1.
I got a text from a buddy who's on a really, really good team as an executive, and he texted me after the Stafford pick. He said the Rams are shook, and it felt like that in the stadium, like they were shook.
Yeah,
because you just got hit with the trick play, and then Stafford throws the pick, and those guys, did they click feet? Why was he down?
They clicked feet. Yeah.
Oh, they did.
Shouldn't be down for clicking feet, but they clicked feet.
When
I think that was the
happened,
moment.
They went. I mean, that was equally as crazy as the double pass.
Well, the thing your buddy texted you was the same thing that Buck and Aikman were talking about, because then they had a shot of the sideline. They're like, look, McVay had like a circle of guys around him. They're like, look, it's not just offensive players that he's talking to. Like it was a motivational speech. Like, fellas, now it wasn't the whole team, but yeah, it was. I think that came through on the TV too, that it felt like they were reeling. And look, how did the Niners get to the Super Bowl of 2019? By being one of the best running teams in the league, right?
Yeah.
It's just, we talked about culture earlier. It's part of the same conversation, and it's why when you talk about running the ball, I mean, and you see offensive linemen, I think we've talked about this. Jeff Schwartz, I remember I saw him tweeting about this the other day, but coaches will talk about it. Like, part of the reason you run the football is to establish a style of play that gets your players ready, that not just prepares them, but puts them in a mindset that ultimately a lot of people think is required in order to win at the highest levels in the sport, is to be willing to get down and dirty.
It translates to big games. Toughness always translates. I think toughness, I say this all the time, I mean, it translates in life. Successful people, most of them aren't mentally weak. You don't have to, obviously, in a lot of professions, you don't have to physically exert yourself. But you got to be. You don't meet people who are successful in life that aren't mentally have some shit to them.
I agree. I would say you don't meet people that are successful that haven't failed, right? And that's part of what it is. Because running can be hard. Like, the guys who only want to throw, I know we call it soft. I think the game is still hard, right? But you can beat a lot of you, especially in college, more so than the NFL. You can kick a lot of people's ass just throwing the ball all the time.
Harbaugh's had a lot of success. Oh, you're saying throwing the ball?
Yeah, but I mean, you can win a bunch of regular season games in college football just throwing the ball nonstop.
Yeah, totally. Well, that's why I give them. Now, Kyle's good at it because he naturally wants to run it. He would just call run plays. He would have ran it into the end zone if he didn't think like this trick play is going to work. He was going to keep running the ball. I was fully prepared for a 24 play drive that ended in a 1 yard Jimmy sneak on 3rd and goal. That's what he was headed toward, which is cool to watch. And I think I say this all the time about Niners. Like, if you're a fan of the team, their best teams, even before you and I were really born, or in the 80s when we didn't even really exist mentally, those Niner teams in the 80s with Walsh had a great defense. Yeah. Those Seifert teams in the 90s had a great defense. Those Harbaugh teams had a great defense. The Niners team this year, like, their defense makes plays. Now, this defense is not as good, obviously, to me, as those other defenses or their 19 defense, but their defense just does have players. And if their corners can just be functional. You don't need Jalen Ramsey and Deion Sanders, right? If they can just be functional, because you can't run on them. And Greenlaw, who could have kicked him out of the game probably a couple times, but him and Fred Warner, poor man's version, Bowman Willis, they're just making every tackle. And then when you have to pass, those guys are just shoving offensive linemen into Stafford's face. Like, it felt like, you see it better on TV, I'm sure. Was Stafford just constantly getting guys pushed back into him?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
nonstop. He was under pressure. I mean, in his defense, he was under pressure a ton. Niners with the fifth most rush attempts in the NFL this year, which is saying something, because it's not like they were playing from ahead all the time.
No,
right? I don't know if that's entering play today. Who knows if any of these stats update, but
Ravens probably still really high, but are skewed because they've been missing quarterbacks and they've been down in games, right? Who even knows? Like to me,
and their
Ravens,
quarterbacks run.
and their quarterbacks run. Yeah, or they won the Ravens.
No, Titans, Eagles, Ravens, Saints, Niners. I don't know if the Titans number. I mean, the Titans leading the league by like week, whatever week Derrick Henry got hurt in,
and the Eagles quarterback runs too, right? So that's an extra 7-8 carries a game.
Yeah, they actually might lead the league in total rushing yards.
How about
they
Mike
did?
Vrabel?
The Eagles did.
Mike Vrabel's the number 1 overall seed. He's gonna buy.
It's incredible.
The one thing you felt in there today, like about the bye, and because I'm watching the Titans score, it was kind of a close game. I think the Texans were kind of
Texans. I didn't watch a ton of that game, but I didn't watch enough of that game to really give you a breakdown. Let's see. Yeah, 28-25. So maybe somebody else watched that game a little more. I mean, I guarantee you somebody else watched that game a little more than me, but. Oh, we got a free situation. Make a note. We'll just wait. He might be making great points that somebody else will. Oh, okay. 28-25. I didn't see a ton of that game, John, but Titans, Texans. But they have a type, right? Like, I don't think they're a 1 seed, but.
Yeah, my point on them is it was a really big deal for them to. Yeah, they are. They get the bye. Like, the Rams had a lot to play for. Games. Am I disappearing still, or you see me?
You went in and out, but we'll fix it in post. Okay. A couple other things.
Yeah.
Check this out. On the Raiders. Raiders into the playoffs. Oh, one other thing real quick before we move on. I just want to put this up because I had it here. Niners. James Palmer tweeted, according to Next Gen Stats, the Niners had the lowest win probability, 0.4% of any team that would go on to win since they started tracking in 2016. For context, the Patriots over the Falcons of the Super Bowl, they had a win probability of 0.8%.
Did you see the stat that Sean McVay had never lost leading a game at halftime in his career? 45-0.
I couldn't believe that.
45-0.
And by the way, up 17-3.
45-0. That's a large sample size, isn't it?
I mean, that's
a lot of games.
Incredible. I mean, that is a conversation maybe for this. Like, you win 6 in a row against somebody, 6 in a row. So check this out. So somebody, I guess I missed it. I don't know if you caught it in the post-game interview that Derek Carr said that the timeout that Brandon Staley took before the 3rd and 4 play with like 39 seconds left changed the Raiders' mindset. Then somebody, real Super Stats Dave, if you want to watch the video, but I'll stream it right here. Look at the video of Austin Eckler. He's saying he thinks Austin's being told right there by one of the Raiders that, when you guys called the timeout, he's like, really, man? The people are guessing that maybe the Raiders were going to kneel on it and just finish off the game with a tie. But in any event, they won, John, and Derek Carr is going to play in the playoffs for the first time in his career.
He's like Andy Dufresne going through the shit, and this is by far, and he's had some crazy-ass years. Buried football, a move. This takes the cake, guy. I mean, guy, they had a DUI allegedly a week ago. Think about that.
By a starting player.
By a starting player. Now, I don't get as caught up. Like, if you or I got a DUI, you go to work. It's not. People are like, you shouldn't play. Well, if you get a DUI, you get to go to work the next day, assuming you get out of jail. But for him to make the playoffs, I even think just bigger picture, him, Rich, to lead this team to 10 wins, to 10 fucking wins. The Raiders went 10-7. Like, the Niners' 10-7 season isn't that remarkable. They underachieved. We agree there. Like, they are a 12 win when it comes to their talent. They are better than their record. The Raiders, who could have easily been a 10-11 win team before their star receiver, their tight end disappeared forever because he was injured and then he got COVID. Like, they went 10-7. How is it possible that they had a better season than the Chargers? The reason I wanted them to beat the Chargers, obviously rooting for Derek and want to see him get. The Chargers don't deserve to squeak into the playoffs. They didn't deserve to get a tie. Justin Herbert, the class of quarterbacks he was in, with 35-plus touchdowns, were him, Mahomes, Stafford, Brady, Rodgers. All of them won divisions. This guy missed the playoffs. Missed the playoffs. And it's not Herbert's fault. Like, I got about 10 texts when you and I were just watching the game. This guy's remarkable, because he is. But the Raiders made the playoffs over the Chargers. Chargers at one point in time were 4-1. They had a quarterback who you could argue could be the starter in the AFC at quarterback, him or Mahomes, flip a coin. And obviously Mahomes, is more, his team wins more, but it's not, watch Herbert, it's not his fault. This fucking coach goes for it nonstop. Like Brandon Staley, going for it in your own red zone. I guess in the other team's red zone.
No, yeah. Down 3 at his own 18-yard line with 8 minutes left in the third quarter. What are you doing?
That's malpractice, guy. And my issue with him is you just can't talk like he talks and then do what he does and have me take you seriously. I think he's putting on, and I've talked to I know some coaches with the Raiders, and maybe you just don't like your competition, even though I think like Kyle likes Sean McVay. But I know their Raider staff thought he was a kind of full of fucking baloney. He's not. You watch Tomlin or Sean Payton or Kyle or even Sean talk, feels relatively real. This guy feels like he's a California politician. He's saying one thing and doing another. And it's just something about that guy I just got a red flag on him. Now, I'm not acting like he's the village idiot. He's Tom Sewell. Like, he's a solid, like, he's not an idiot. But I think he kind of knows what he's doing. And he used the media to, and not many coaches, I think he started doing it heavily as the season kind of went the other way. It was kind of timed perfectly.
I think I've been watching his press conference at the beginning of the year. I think it's what he's been since the beginning. Just goes the extra mile to explain things. And, I think you see it a lot in college where coaches just know how to work it. I think you see it a lot with players who know how to work it. I don't think California has the politicians cornered the market on that. Like, I think it's a pretty common thing.
No, I know, but that's what I'm used to.
As time goes on and on, the more TV that's out there, the more press conferences that are out there for people to watch, the easier it is to copy a lack of authenticity. And the easier it is to fake a lack of authenticity. Because the fact is that authenticity doesn't come from authenticity comes over time. You can learn who's real and who's not. And the fact is that I think sometimes we you get to skip ahead. Like, generally the people in your life whose opinions you value are people who you've gotten to know over a period of time, and you learn to trust that their opinion is of value to you. But it doesn't always work like that in the public sphere, because you don't get to be around people every day. You don't get to see what they're like at their worst. And it's easy to get up there for 30 minutes and fake it if you want to. Some guys don't want to, right? Bill doesn't want to. Although there might be somebody that says, oh, no, Bill does that on purpose for a whole other reason. But whatever. That's a separate conversation. But I think what's incredible, John, his team lost to the Denver Broncos by 15 points in November. Then they lost to the Texans in December. They got blown out by the Texans in December. And I think the thing with him is it does seem like it is, like, he kind of talks like he's got all the answers, but his team does not look like a team that has all the answers. And if they're no different than they were when they ran Anthony Lynn off. Now, actually, I shouldn't say that. They are different. For the most part, they've managed games that you and I have talked about this, managed games at the end better. But like, is Justin Herbert, it feels, I'll tell you what it feels like to me right now, Sunday night, January 9th, that Justin Herbert's going to be year 4 in the league on his 3rd different head coach.
Yeah. Did you see the thing, that Dean Pease video that went viral?
No.
Where he talked about coaches. He thought a lot of coaches in the NFL now skip steps. They just want to be like famous and come up. There's so much money on the line. And to me, anytime that you put money and fame, and that's what football coaching has really become. I mean, super wealth. That you get guys like Brandon Staley. Now, I disagreed with some of Dean Pease was talking about, like, kind of obsessed with analytics. But he was talking about real people. And he's like, can you get in front of a player and, like, the player really bond with you? Like, can you interact with people? And there's an element to Staley where he feels like he's just studied how to play them. You follow the Thanos trial at all? Like how I was listening
Theranos.
to the podcast. Theranos.
Thanos is the bad guy from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, good call. Theranos. Crazy story. I mean, the way she did it. But I was listening to Shamath has his podcast, and they were saying like one of her best attributes was that she convinced the media that it was real, and they got behind her. So it was hard for the investors to even question it because it was like such glowing, and she knew what she was doing.
And part of it was the board of directors that she put together was one that no one would question, right? It was
some of them Pulitzer Prize. It had a ex-general, it was high level people, salt of the earth people. It was impressive, the people that she put together. But their point was a huge part of it was the media bought it hook, line, and sinker because they wanted it to be true. They wanted this female Steve Jobs, and she was smart, and everyone backed her up. And it was the media. The media saw Brandon Staley talk about the John Gruden thing, and I'm not saying he was even lying with that, but the fucking going for twos and everything is. You watch Rich Piscaccia. Now he's older. I can't say his name right, but you just see a real guy. This is my biggest issue with frauds. Do they act differently the moment the camera's off and they just go behind the closed doors with their wife or their friends? Do they just become a different human? How's that possible? Maybe
I don't know if it's necessarily. I don't know if it's necessarily that with him. I think, and this is the Theranos thing. Part of it is if you don't have a science background, it's really easy to get fooled by Theranos. If you don't know what you're looking for, right? And that's what the board of directors is supposed to be like. Remember, there was one professor at Stanford that saw her presentation and was like, "This is complete bullshit. This is not even
there's
possible. No way this works."
Yeah,
the problem is you put all these smart people on your board who don't actually. This is not their area of expertise. And I think the same thing happens in the media. Football is really complicated, and the people that do it at the highest level are playing a game that most of us aren't watching. Right? There are several levels to the chess they're playing that most people just don't understand. Of course, they've dedicated their lives to that. You've dedicated your life to something else. There's something else that you understand that football coaches probably have a hard time booking their own car reservation. That's not what they do. They coach football, so they're experts at it. And anything you're an expert at, you can hold court at. If the people you're talking to don't fully understand every aspect, can't press you on an issue, that kind of thing. It's not to say people that cover the sport don't know it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there was a similarity when you can kind of, talk it in a certain way. We love that.
I think one thing that he does over the top that Harbaugh doesn't necessarily even do, and he's an analytic, they go for it a lot. He knows the media loves that because that's the intellectual, it's kind of their background. They view themselves, I feel they view themselves in Brandon Staley. And when you look at Brandon Staley's resume compared to Rich tonight, Rich has been in the league for 25 years. This guy became a head coach. He was in Division I AA or Division II, John Carroll, 6 years ago. It was crazy. And I think it's just how this guy become a head coach. You can't tell me if Rich is the coach of the Chargers, they're in the playoffs. It's just happening. He just knows what he could lead a group. You watch the Chargers, the difference between the Raiders and them was they were all kind of together. Now the Chargers just had Herbert kind of go, LeBron or Shaq or something, just I'll carry you. But that's really, really hard when another team is, pretty solid too, and they're together and your offensive line's getting their ass kicked. But his just constant bullshit is just something that I to lose that game, to not make the playoffs with a quarterback, look at his numbers relative to Derek. Derek just would have to Derek, who was he throwing to? Zay fucking Jones? Hunter's good, but Waller finally came back. That, I think these guys are so obsessed. People that again, it's not I even watch the shows. You couldn't pay me to watch NFL Live or the shows, before the games come on. But I think a lot of people with journalism backgrounds or, not former players or whatever are very drawn to the analytical people. We've seen it in the other sports. And I think Brandon kind of saw that to verbalize it, like you said. And he kind of knew. Harbaugh will say, "I'll go for it" or not. But he's not trying to kiss your ass.
I don't even think it's about the analytics. I think it's about Staley. I think you just see that explaining things is a market inefficiency. Taking time to explain things to the media is a market inefficiency, right? Most coaches, and I don't really have a problem with it, don't go deep into detail. They got other things to worry about. Their job is not to coach the media. If you do the job on your own and then you come to the coach with a good question, then they appreciate that, whatever. But I thought the same thing. I made the point earlier about Bisaccia. Like somewhere along the way, he probably gave up on his dream of becoming a head coach. Although somebody told me he tried to get a college job.
I think he's interviewed definitely in the last like decade for sure. I've seen that name.
Maybe he never gave up on it. He thought maybe he could become a head coach still at some point. But somewhere along the way,
had to cross his mind though, it wasn't going to happen.
Absolutely, right? He's 61 years old. It's just Vic Fangio had been an elite defensive coach. Mike Zimmer had been an elite defensive coach, and it took him a while.
Arians,
61. Arians. Sean. I want to say Sean McDermott, right? So all those guys, and then here's Staley, who's at John Carroll 5 years ago, right? So I could understand if you're Rich, there being something deep within you that he represents. But forget about the press conferences. Just like I have to do it for all the guys like me. I have. This is going to sound probably like it's going to become an anti-analytics thing, but it's not. I think there are a lot of things in life, in anything, and I see it in TV. I'm sure there are like expert chefs that see it. The food processor comes along, and all of a sudden, anybody can make a good pastry. You don't have to actually know how to get the dough together. And most of the time, it works. Most of the times, the shortcuts that make life better work. Automatic transmission, right? It's just, why would anybody argue against automatic transmission for most of our daily lives? It's perfect. But there are moments in any industry when you need somebody who knows how to do it on their own. You just need it. I would bet if we talk to anybody in any industry, whether it was broadcasting or football coaching or cooking, chefing, taxi driving, all of a sudden the internet, the cell signal goes out and I got to get you to the airport in 35 minutes and I don't have Waze. For the most part, life can go on without it. Maybe you can make better decisions more often with it. But there are just things that occur. And it's not just about coaching the game. It's about running a locker room, which is, I think, pretty consistently an underrated part. Not for the coaches, it's not underrated, but for everyone who talks about coaching, I think managing your team is a pretty underrated aspect of it all.
Yeah, and for those of you, if you're listening to this podcast, we were live on YouTube when the ending was going for like basically the fourth quarter and all of overtime. And I had missed a lot of the game. And when we got on to just start bullshitting, when that game was in like the third quarter, you had told me about the moment.
I knew I was going to set you off.
You had told me about the moment. And I think that's one of the most egregious errors, even the wrong word, moves in the history of the NFL. That is
since the merger.
If he benefits a little bit from being the Chargers, can you imagine if that was Kyle Shanahan, if that was Mike McCarthy, if that was the Philadelphia Eagles, if somehow probably not, but let's say Joe Judge was good. I'm just talking about something that
Joe Judge did something else on Sunday that was amazing.
The Packers, the Steelers, he does benefit from kind of flying under the. I also feel like he's kind of taking advantage of some media, like with the Chargers. Is the A team. And I'm not trying to talk shit about the people that cover. It's a hard sport. I respect. It's not easy. I couldn't do it, but that move is something Rich would have jumped off Allegiant Stadium, fucking head first before he did that. Just out of this is ultimately football. We've all there is a basic level. I was sitting next to this probably 55-year-old woman, big Rams fan. She was like texting and calling her sister, like 17, she's really in it. Basic level football, and hell, she might be really knowledgeable. You don't need to be Belichick. That is the craziest thing. I need to go back and actually watch. That's insane.
It was crazy. I mean, the fact that it was 8 minutes left in the third quarter, down by 3, and I don't know what percentage. I haven't seen yet the percentage they gained on it. Like if they had gotten it, I think it was a 45% chance of winning the game.
How can you play that at your 18-yard line, though? That percentage.
Because I'm saying that the percentage would factor in the 18, but it's like the irony is the way the game ended, they got back in the game, but they had to scratch and claw like hell to get back in the game because after that moment, the Raiders score and the game got away from them for almost it looked like the rest of the game. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm with you. It's one of the craziest decisions I've seen a coach make in a big game.
Well, think about this. They may win the game just outright and be in the playoffs right now because they got a field goal, and it ended up as a tie game going to overtime, right? That error cost them a field goal. And the one thing you saw with the Niner game and that game, I'm sure we'll see this, Bama, Georgia, who we could use Bama going money line, is these points in these big games, mistakes are really under a microscope, and they can snowball and points. You play the game where I can't believe he did that. I really can't. Now,
it is.
I know, I'm sure the Spanos gives him the go-ahead to do whatever. That's crazy, guy. He didn't. I guess my point is he didn't deserve to win the game when he did that.
No, and you know what? This goes back to I'm glad you said that, because I thought the Raiders did deserve to be a playoff team. There have been other years where they didn't deserve to be a playoff team, right? This year they deserved it. Everything that I can't believe that this Raiders team won this playoff game and is in the playoffs. And I think a lot like what I said about Garoppolo and grit, like Derek has not been perfect down the stretch, but he's played he's made winning plays 3 straight weeks coming into this week. And he made some winning plays. I'm most happy for Rich probably in terms of the moment, but big picture for Derek, I'm most happy for Derek because he deserves to not be the guy that hasn't played in a playoff game because he plays for the historically inept Raiders. And he has gotten them to the playoffs.
I do think that the way the matchup fell, now we know the Bengals with Higgins and Burrow, that's kind of a win. I think the Raiders can win that game. They can beat the Bengals, right? Like they get a playoff game where I don't think it's insane at all. We'll see what the point spread is, probably already out. Like I could see betting the Raiders plus 3 or 4.
I mean, they got blown out by them the first time, right?
Oh yeah, they did play in Vegas. They did get their ass kicked. I would say they were reeling then. They awoke post then.
I thought that game was going to end I thought that game killed them. I thought the game ended their season. Then they went Thursday and beat the Cowboys after that. Derek was 20 of 36, 186, 2 touchdowns, no picks. I thought he made some humongous throws in the game. I thought he made some huge throws. You guys watch a different game than the rest of us, says G. I thought Derek, for 3 straight weeks, just did not play perfect football, but now 4 straight weeks, but consistently made winning plays.
That's the first game of the week, huh? Saturday, 1:00.
That is, yeah, yep. So
they do get a short week, but they were at home. Did the Bengals play today?
Yeah, kind of crazy to go Sunday night to the early Saturday game. That's true.
Did the Bengals have a game today?
Yeah, but they didn't. They lost to the Browns.
Did that even matter?
Nobody play. I mean, Joe Burrow didn't play.
Wow.
Brandon Allen started.
Yeah, I mean,
Case Keenum and Brandon Allen.
Yeah, Baker has shoulder surgery or whatever, huh?
Yeah, it's time to call it, which I support. I support it, but yeah, that game is going to be at 1:30 Pacific on NBC. Is that going to be what's NBC's second crew? Is it going to be Tirico and Breeze calling that game?
Maybe get Mayock.
They did Notre Dame.
Get Mayock out of the booth.
That's the other thing I was thinking. I'm like, here we are.
That'd be pretty legendary. Go, John.
Could you do that? I was thinking Gruden. Yeah.
Could you do? Would he do that? Would he agree?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Do you?
My socks are so smelly, I had to take them off.
Do you think? Do you think Gruden would do that?
Call the Raider game?
Yeah. Is that what you're asking?
I didn't realize like what game ESPN have Vegas Bengals?
No. And that's what I'm saying. NBC has Vegas Bengals. So I think it's probably Tirico and Breeze.
Yeah.
ESPN
has the Monday night game.
That's right. Cardinals Rams, which is going to have the Mannings on it too. So
those 2 games to have that much, that was awesome. That was some of the coolest stretches of football in the history of the league, because we talk about this a lot. Sometimes you get unlucky, right? There's not a game that matters. Both teams. Now the Raider Charger, whoever lost was out. And if the Niners lost, like the Rams were in, they did not need to win the game. And it turns out they ended up winning. But the drama, the intensity of those 2 games, that was fucking badass. That was really just badass. You could just feel the tension. I think you'll see this tomorrow, assuming the game's tight. This is where playoff football just goes to another level. Unlike basketball or baseball, you don't get another game. Like there's not 7-game series. You just like, God, are they going to lose? Are they going to win? It's finite. It's over. You're just on the edge of your seat.
I know. Here's the schedule, by the way. Most people might know it, but let's talk about it. Raiders Bengals is your 1:30 Pacific Saturday. Then your 5:15 Saturday is Patriots Bills. Sunday, the day starts at 10 a.m. Pacific, Eagles Bucks. Then Niners Cowboys at 1:30. Then Steelers Chiefs at 5:15. And then Monday is Cardinals Rams, which
would
is
would you say the Cowboys, Niners, Patriot Bills, 2 best games of the weekend?
Yes, I would say that, which is kind of, I mean, I guess the Chiefs Steeler game will do a massive number.
But they killed them. That's a tough matchup for the Steelers, isn't it?
Well, I know, but I would rather that game be on Sunday night, Niners Cowboys. Like, I did a thing on Friday, I mentioned to you, and a bunch of people have been sending me messages. The Niners Cowboys, I've seen some people on here guessing. The Niners Cowboys NFC Championship in 1995 is still the 4th most watched conference championship game ever. Over 56 million people watched it. Now, you're not going to get 56 million people watching this, but when I said that, when I posted that on like Friday night or Thursday night, Friday night, multiple people sent me messages like, "Oh, that was different back then. It was Cowboys Niners. They were huge. They had just met the year before." Yeah, it was different, but the Cowboys are still probably the number 1 attraction in the NFL from a television rating standpoint. And the Niners are an absolute tier 1 behemoth still. Like, it's going to be humongous. This is, I mean, the only thing the NFL would change is they would make this the NFC Championship game this year if they could. That to me is, it's hard to get better than that unless you had like, I don't know. They would probably tell you like Eagles Giants or something.
Well,
right?
there's a decent chance in the second round of the NFC playoff. I mean, there's not a decent chance. You're getting Packers, Rams, and Niners or Cowboys versus Tampa Bay. That's pretty good. Second round.
Yeah.
So Brady versus the Cowboys or the Niners, and Packers versus Sean McVay in
right.
Green Bay. How would Stafford win that game? He couldn't, could he?
I don't think he would. No, I don't have a lot of confidence in him right now.
Yeah.
Or any.
I feel like Jimmy could go.
I shouldn't say any. I do have some. I mean, he made some plays I thought that were pretty incredible. So
he's played there a bunch over his career.
Yeah, he has. He has. Big Ben into the playoffs. Colts got their ass kicked from the Jags. I'm just running through some of the notes. Pats are just terrible in Miami at the end of the year. I can't explain it.
It wouldn't have mattered though, right? Because the Bills beat the Jets. So like even if they won, I mean, it would have been good for us if they covered, but the Bills won the division when they beat the Jets.
Yeah. It was good for our bet. But I do think
that's a big game for Sean McDermott because you have the Monday night game, then you beat him again with Allen. Now you get him at home. You can you beat him twice. I think people will forgive you at the Monday night game. But you lose,
yeah, they will.
But you lose. I'd say that's the most pressure. I think the most pressure is on Sean McDermott and Mike McCarthy.
That sounds like a good topic for this week. I like that. McCarthy. Yeah,
What's McCarthy? What is it?
I would say I would add a third coach, which is the Rams-Cardinals game. I think Cliff has a huge amount of pressure on him. And I think Sean kind of has a little pressure on, like Sean went all in, John, for Matthew Stafford. All in for Matthew Stafford. They can't lose the first round of the Cardinals, who've lost, by the way, not enough L's to cover. I think they've lost 4 or 5 or 5 or 6 now. The Cardinals?
Yeah.
Lost to Seattle on Sunday. So I like your list.
Didn't they get killed?
I think it ended up being kind of close by the end. I didn't see a ton of that game.
38-29, I think the final score was, or something.
Okay. So you said McDermott. Who was the other coach you said?
McCarthy,
yeah. Ton of pressure on McCarthy.
McCarthy, you can't lose a home playoff game. Kyle, in a weird way, has just
house money.
Playoffs. It's not house money because it's
not house money.
They underachieved. You know, the thing with the Raiders achieved and overachieved to get 10-7. That was an awesome 10-7 season. It was cool the way the Niners got there, but 10-7 was a letdown season, right? They should have been in the mix for the division.
Yeah, 10-7 because 10-7 is 9-7. Really, I think that's one thing I would say from this season is 10. We wondered this would be like, is 10-7 9-7 or is it 10-6? Like, which one does it feel like? I'd say it feels a little closer to 9-7 than it does 10-6, or at least the record represents at 10-7 a team that looks like a 9-7, not a team that looks like a 10-6. Would you agree with that?
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. So should this be a 12-5 team? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Like 18 weeks, a lot of football. Like you put your resume out there.
All that matters they're in. So both of them.
Yeah. No, 100%. The Giants, I would encourage you. We're not going to describe the Giants play. Dan Campbell said we're not running a clown show, and then they went out and won a football game. I did think this watching some of Detroit's highlights, and we've talked about this over the course of the year. Detroit for a 3-13-1 team, I find them pretty likable. Like they're in a lot of games. They beat the Packers. Didn't really matter for the Packers today, but
did Jared Goff play in that game?
Goff played. He was 21-30 for 238, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And there was some question as to whether he would play because he had some knee issue.
Yeah.
So I give him credit. And the other thing I'll add here, Middlecoff's got clearly like some back problems. I don't know.
What's his? I just don't have a
bad couch. You're like, are you hunched kind of?
Yeah, it's just fuck.
Yeah,
but no, I'm Kirk Herbstreit. This is the guy. This is Thursday night week.
Clay, any other NFL?
There's no live stream tomorrow till later in the day though.
Yeah, later in the day.
4.
Yeah. Anything? I mean, there's a ton of NFL stuff. We'll have to. We will do another YouTube stream, live stream. YouTube.
I need to watch some Dallas Cowboy. I mean, I did not watch him play. I haven't really been that locked into him in the last month. Like, I mean, does Dak scare you? Because he doesn't really to me.
No, although I saw him dot a ball, John, on Saturday.
Threw 5
some of the game that I saw. Early in the game, he threw a sideline ball over an outstretched hand of a defender. That was a pretty good ball. Didn't have a lot of heat on it, but it was an impressive throw. I get Harbaugh's not getting hired this week. I'm just trying to empty the tank on takes here. Harbaugh's not getting hired by the Raiders this week. So Klay Thompson, I watched Klay's. Maybe you'll see I would encourage you just to at least find the starting lineups. You know, I love starting lineups. It looked like you got in the stadium pretty early. Who sang the anthem today at SoFi? Anybody in particular?
Not famous, no.
I love being in the stadium.
And I love the anthem.
Oh, really?
It wasn't.
That's because you love the anthem. You high standard. I love being. To me, if I'm going to the game, I gotta get into the stadium. I want to be in there. I don't want to be walking in as like we're 3 minutes away and the thing's starting. Like you need the amp up, right?
It was packed with like 5-6 minutes left.
5-6 minutes left.
As like before the game. Like it was.
Oh, okay. Like how long were you in there before the game started? Like look like 20 minutes, 30 minutes.
30, I mean, we got there at like 11:15.
Oh, so you got in there really early.
Yeah, but it was pretty packed in there at 11:15. I think you get there.
I am now. It doesn't football starting lineups don't quite. I love the run out for college. I would say that's probably the equivalent. I don't know was there like a ladies and gentlemen, your Rams, and they run out the field with smoke? Do they do anything like that?
Yeah, the defense ran out. So it was like their starting defense.
Solidarity. But I love when it's like, and here come Larry Izzo and the Patriots defense. Look at this. They've never done this before. But to me, starting lineups for baseball and basketball are just. I love the show of it. And the Warriors starting lineups tonight, Klay Thompson's return, were pretty good. Obviously, he went last. Draymond started the game, even though he was hurt, was not going to play.
Saw that.
Which was cool.
What did you just call a timeout right away?
Yeah, or they committed a foul real quick, I think. And so they did like this, the Klay. And it was, you could tell it was pretty special to Klay. And the place was going pretty nuts. It was pretty cool. Pretty good to see that guy back.
Special night, guy. Special night.
I think do you think if you did an anonymous poll of Warrior fans, they said, okay, one guy can go for 45 tonight, would they definitely choose Steph? I feel like people would choose Klay if we had a vote.
At this point in time, I think Klay would get some votes.
At this point, yeah. And then he scored the first bucket of the game, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
All right, there's a lot of other stuff that happened on Sunday that we didn't get to. Anything you want to add here?
That's all I got.
No, you've yeoman's work as an old newspaper writer.
Well, it's like a 3.5 hour pod because we watched, for hour 20.
Yeah, right? I mean we're at 2:40 right now. Yeah, we watched an hour of the end of the Raider game.
Yeah.
So guess the rating for Niners Cowboys. We can do that later in the week if you want to chew on it.
I don't know. I'm fried.
All right, good work, Middlecoff. Thanks for hanging with us, everybody. I mean, just look at the YouTube numbers. We could go another Go till midnight. See when it starts to drop off.
We got them all week, bro. We got them
all right. We will go live on YouTube on Monday afternoon ish, evening ish. We'll see. Keep an eye out for that.
Championships on, so we'll have to figure that out.
We'll figure that out. We'll do some scheduling. Appreciate the sacrifice, says Mike on the stream. So good work, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us. Adios, everybody. I gotta hit end.